At ease. Your boy Soul Immortal. First off, I want to thank y'all for joining in. I think today's topic is going to be a good one. I think it's going to be a juicy one. I think it's going to be a lot of I think a lot of people are gonna be on either side of the fence in a very strong way, right? What I recently understood, or what I recently came to find out, is that a lot of younger people, and when I say younger, I'm talking maybe 30 or below. A lot of younger people have absolutely no clue that not too many years ago it was illegal for let's say a black man and a white woman to be married or in relationships. This was an illegal thing, and you wouldn't know that by just looking around today. You look at the red carpets of America, and they're graced with celebrities that are black male, Hispanic woman, Hispanic man, Asian wife. It's just a collection, just a plethora of everything. So you really wouldn't know. You can just go to your local Walmart, go to your grocery store, go to your park, and seeing interracial relationships seems normal. But the thing is, everybody hasn't co-signed on that. A lot of people are they say it's a beautiful thing, where some people say it's the worst thing to happen to black culture, right? So today we're going to dig in it. Today we're going to hopefully all, regardless of what side of the fence you're on, gain a better understanding, right? Today I want to know what you think about it. Today we're going to chop it up about interracial relationships. Let's talk about it.
First of all, the greatest thing on the planet is the knowledge of self, and basically the knowledge of the universe. For the mere fact that you are even interested in this or remotely interested in this at this particular time when shit is going on crazy out here, it means that you are the special evolved beings. Stop thinking like a human. You got to start thinking as a God. G-O-D, generator, operator, and destroyer. Is it not written in your law that ye are God? John chapter 10, verse 34, 35. But what is the whole of is that the actual gods do not realize they're God.
Now, brothers and sisters, I want y'all to give a warm welcome for my, last week. The other day I referred to her as a guest on the show, but today for this topic, I'm referring to her as my co-host, right? She is a 15 plus year graphic designer. Trust me, I'm sure you've seen her work around the globe with many familiar faces, many famous people. She's the host of a bomb podcast called Still Dope SF. She's a brand ambassador for so many brands. You just check out her IG page and you'll see the plethora of people that are trying to work with her. She's originally from Kansas City. She spent a decade in the A, but now she calls H-Town her home. Give it up for today's co-host, Aliyah Nico.
Hello. Hi, guys.
It's good to have you back, sister. It's good to have you back.
Likewise, it's good to be back. It's good to be back.
Now, I'll be honest. It took everything in me not to ask you what side of the fence you were on in this topic. I wanted to text you so bad yesterday and say, well, what are your thoughts on? Wait, I said, you know what? I'll wait, just like everybody else. Mm-hmm. Now, the thing is, when I talk to most sisters about this, most sisters lean toward, they'll say things like, well, a lot of our brothers are in prison. There are a chunk of our brothers that don't even like women anymore. And they'll say, well, so like the numbers for us are low. So like why wouldn't we step outside? But some of these women, they'll say, you know what? It doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't care if I'm the last, I'm never going outside of my brothers, right? So my question to you, sisters, is when it comes to interracial relationships, what say you?
For me, I am pro-Black family, pro-Black relationships for myself.
Based on what is that based on?
Well, it's based on, number one, like you said in the introduction, I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I grew up, for the most part, yeah, I grew up in a predominantly Black neighborhood. I went to private school, which was a mix. And then even in high school, I went to a mixed high school. And then I went to a predominantly white college. And we always had, like, white family friends and things of that nature. But my soul speaks pro-black relationship. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? For me.
I feel you. Now, as for me, well, let me tell you, I can tell you what side of the fence I'm on. But then, I can easily say that growing up, elementary, middle school, all my girlfriends were Black, got out of high school, got married. My wife at the time was mixed, which I guess is considered Black. I don't know. I guess it depends on who you ask. Yeah. And even after I got divorced, all I entertained was Black women. And it wasn't that I was against any other race. What I felt at the time is that, is that, these, a certain woman that wasn't a sister. What I felt is that she wouldn't be able to identify with me as a Black man, because there's a lot of quote unquote Black struggle that we experience every day that some people have no clue. And that was my thing. I said, well, they won't be able, anybody outside of my race wouldn't be able to identify. But a thing happened, right? I guess this was in my mid to late 30s. There was a female that in the professional, in my professional career, we crossed paths a lot. A white lady, white sister, much older. I believe I was 37. She was coming up on 50, but she was banging, and we were attracted. There was an attraction, but we just never entertained it. And at some point in time, that I guess the stars lined up. We had a certain conversation, went on a date, and we vibed for a while. And this is what I came to understand, that yes, there is a difference. There is a difference, but I'll be honest. At that point in my life, up to my mid to late 30s, this woman showed me a level of femininity that at that point, up to that point, I had never experienced. So at least I can say that I took from that, it kind of made me raise the bar as far as what to expect from any woman. Right. So that was a plus from it. And, that whole thing fell off. And, and I talk openly about my relationships on my videos. I've even interviewed an ex, and all of these are sisters. But after that encounter, I lifted the bar. As far as, like, me only talking to Black women. So I would say I'm on the fence. I'm on the side of the fence that leans toward the mixture. I have no problem with interracial, and I currently entertain that lifestyle. So that's the side of the fence I'm on. But this is my question.
Yes.
This is my question. Is it? Are you not attracted to men on the other? Because this is because when I heard people say that, I'm like, okay, well, is it an attraction thing, or is it just a moral Black power thing? So are you telling me when you see the David Beckhams of the world, or the you name it, I don't know who the, what I'm saying? I don't know who the hot Latino brothers are you not attracted to other men at all?
Okay, let me just put it this way.
Okay.
There are attractive men in all races of the spectrum. Mm-hmm. However, it's something different about a Black man. It just is. That's just my innate desire. It really has nothing to do with being pro-Black. Maybe it is in a subconscious way. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I have talked to a white gentleman. Mm-hmm. It was fine.
Okay.
We never were intimate. We never kissed. Physically intimate.
Okay.
We never kissed. None of that. But it just was not. He was good looking. You can be good looking all day long, but if it don't do nothing for me, it don't do nothing for me.
Yeah. I'm gonna be dropping a link, guys. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. I want to get your take on this thing tonight. I want to know, is it an attraction thing? I want to know, what say you when it comes to this whole interracial, because to be honest, I had no idea that there was such a divide. I had no idea up until the last few weeks a conversation that I had with a brother that I hope he chimes in here in a little bit. But I always wondered, like, when people are on that side of the fence, is it the lack of attraction? Is it because even in my life when I didn't entertain other races, I still thought they were fine.
Yeah.
I can remember my third grade teacher, Mrs. Maris, Hispanic. She was one of the baddest ladies I've seen pretty much up to sixth grade. And I was like, if I could find me a Miss Maris, life would be good. So I was never like, I gotta be pro, that was never my thing,
Sure.
What is Dan C says, nothing wrong with mixed couples, but when high value black men and women don't get together, it hurts the black family.
Yes, it does.
In terms of black community. So Ali, you think it hurts the black community?
Yes, it does. And I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
There's a lot of people that don't like Dr. Umar Johnson. Okay. But he said something that was very prolific. And what that was if a, say, black man or a black woman marries outside of their race, we'll say black man.
Okay.
A black man marries outside of his race, and that woman does not have an innate concern, reverence, or anything for the community, but just that man, if he is to pass and she is to inherit his wealth, it will be distributed in her community. It will not be distributed in the black community. That happens more than you think, more than we talk about.
Okay, and that makes sense. But are you saying, okay, say if, and let's just use black and white.
Sure.
Let's say if a black man marries a white woman, they have kids, which are mixed, right? Yeah. Are you saying that if she passes that financial gain from him passing down to her children, that it's leaving the community? Or are you saying she's going to back up and go back to her parents' lineage?
Well, it depends on the upbringing, because I'll say this. I'm going to put my personal life on display, because I come from a family of mixed lineage on my mother's side. Well, on both sides, but more so on my mom's side than on my dad's side. I do know, I'll talk about my cousins. I have, on my dad's side, I have two. He has a brother that is married to a white lady, my Aunt Darlene. They have two children. Both of their children date white. They are brought up white. They are not brought up black. It depends on how they're raised. They were raised in the suburbs. They went to private school all the way from Montessori on up to almost college, and their family, my Aunt Darlene, her family, they are agriculture people. They own a lot of land in Missouri, you know what I mean? And that's how they grew up. In fact, we'll get into this at a deeper and different time, but my sister and I were used as an experiment when we were kids, before they had kids, to see how we would fit into the white climate of the town, because there wasn't no black people down there.
It's an experiment.
Oh yeah, like for real. And I'll never forget that. I was 11 years old when that happened. And it just depends on how the kids were raised. I think if they were raised, I truly believe we don't talk. My little cousins, I love them, but we don't talk. We don't have anything to talk about. They are more akin to their white side than they are their black side. And I'm the first grandchild, but on that particular side, but still there is no, you can try to reach out and but you can't force a connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like on my mom's side, it's 18 of us grandchildren. 9 boys, 9 girls. There's 3 of my little cousins that are black. They look like they're like Arabian or whatever, because of course, like I told you, my lineage is kind of mixed up. It's mixed up, but we resonate as black people.
Okay.
Or indigenous people or melanated people, whatever the case may be. But those kids were raised in a black, or excuse me, raised in a white community.
Mhm.
They are black, and they are all with white people too.
Mm. So a lot of it has to
So
do
it
with the
just kind of
upbringing.
depends on your upbringing
Yep.
and how you're raised up. Now, me and my sister grew up in the hood,
Mhm.
but had a lot of nice stuff.
Okay.
Went to private school, went to a college preparatory, high school and middle school, went to college, moved to Atlanta, always been around, a mix or diverse group of people,
Yep.
but we just black is what we resonate with,
Yeah.
or what we call ourselves.
Yeah.
And so my thing is like, it really kind of depends on how you're raised. Because if I were to have children, then my children, I would raise them to, you can distribute your funds the way you want to.
Uh-huh.
But ultimately, if you're not raised to put money back into your community, 9 times out of 10, you're going to funnel it in other communities. And those people do not teach their children to put money in the black community. They don't do it because it's about survival.
Yeah.
So if you're, you know what I mean? So
Yep.
that's our downfall, because we're so quick to, if we've amassed a certain level of fame or prestige, we will date outside of our race. And then when you date outside of your race, like Dr. Umar Johnson said, and many other, different either conscious folks, metaphysical folks, whatever the case may be, pro-black folks, whatever, that is a known fact.
Yeah.
You marry somebody outside the race, you die, and then it's going elsewhere. It's not going back into the community unless they have reverence and respect for our community. That's
exactly.
the only way that's going to happen.
And that's how I had like me growing up. I have aunts that are not black. I have one aunt that's Hispanic. I have an aunt that's white, and they've been in my life like since day one. They were there since birth, and I didn't even really think about them being something else other than black until I got like maybe 9 or 10 when I started saying, you know what, Annie, not, she's not black, but they my family, like we embrace black culture. We didn't act like something we were. We support black business. We have, like we're regular standard issue black, black household. And like my aunts, even though like one of my uncles is no longer with us, my aunt is still in our family operating just like one of us, so that's why I've never put a barrier up. I think a lot of it comes down to maybe upbringing, maybe experiences, I see you pop back in. Bring Mr. KP in. Mr. KP, when it comes to interracial relationships, brother, when it comes to interracial relationships, man, what say you?
All right, so peep game. I'm 39 years old. I'm a resident down here in good old state of Cackalack, North Carolina.
Nice.
When I was raised, my parents moved from Queens, New York to upstate New York, about 3 hours up in the area, not far, about an hour or so from Albany. So I went from being in a picture of all Hispanic kids, myself, Asian kids, a couple white kids, to me just being a chocolate chip kid at the age of like 8 or 9 years old, around a whole bunch of white folks.
Mm-hmm.
Lived in that life for like 5-6 years. About going to my freshman year in high school, I was always around white girls, and I was like, and I was like, they had interest in me, and I didn't know whether it was that fetish thing, and like black women. I think your guest, she'll probably have the same thing when a white guy or Asian guy, whoever of a different race. Mm-hmm. Black women always have this wondering, especially if they're of a certain type of body figures, voluptuous, curvy. Am I just a fetish girl for this guy's? Because it'd be a while before you even meet the family.
Yeah,
and that's like the main hurdle when it comes to interracial dating. It's not the person you're actually seeing, but it's you meeting the mama And then if you're a black man, meeting the daddy if he's in the picture, because the last thing a white father most times, I mean, we can think about the ideal, but it's like, you know, coming to that movie with Bernie, Bernie Mac, who's coming to dinner or whatever.
Mhm.
It's that case when your daughter walks in, you're like, wait, who's this guy?
Yeah.
You know, and now you're worrying about what your neighbors are going to say, your co-workers are going to say, and then you're also worrying about, oh, my lineage, my kids are going to come out if she has a child with this guy, black, because they're not going to think interracial, they're going to think black.
Yep.
So the main thing, like, why I don't say stick to your own, I won't sound like that because that could come off somewhat semi-racist to some folks. But like she was saying earlier, Asian folks, they say to themselves, stick to your own.
Mm-hmm.
Arabic people say stick to your own.
Mm-hmm.
Hispanic folks say stick to your own.
Mm-hmm.
White folks are the only ones that kind of might go off the reservation, so to speak. But at a certain degree, they'll say stick to your own.
Mm-hmm.
And like my granddaddy, I'm giving a short story and I'll get off. I don't want to hold y'all up.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle back in the 70s, you know, everybody was moving up north in the late 60s and 70s from the north, the south up north. So he came up mid 70s with a white girl to the small hometown he's from. And she was a nice girl. My grandparents like, brought my uncle to the side and told him, hey, Mac, yeah, she's a nice girl. Yeah, but we got to live around here. This is back in like the mid 70s, 75. This is down in, North Carolina, Podo town. So they let them know, like, look, folks around here are going to, we still got forms of the Klan around here. You can't be doing that around here. I know you go up there in New York and that's normal, but down here, it's still like 30 years in the past. You can't be doing that. Yeah. So he told my uncle, remind, you may play with them, but don't stay with them. Because you got to realize back then, still 1970s, things ain't forward enough where people are going to be understanding, and you're going to have a lot of struggles in your life, and they're going to make struggles on her as a white woman. Oh, you chose to be with a black man. We're going to make your life difficult like a black woman because you chose to go on that side of the fence, so to speak. So interracial dating is a case a lot of folks want to do it just for the taboo aspect of it. But then when it comes to the marriage, and it's like she was saying earlier about the lifestyle. If you come from a certain life bring, like I said, I can get along with white folks because I've been around them a lot when I was in high school, so I know how to observe them and know how they think.
But brother KP, like where is that line? Because think about this. People say stay pro black, like where? Because this is what I'm saying. A lot of people have the argument, including like Brother Umar, I think, that says that the original man was a black man, right?
Yeah.
I mean, don't we say the original man and woman was a black man, which means everybody came from those two people, right? So let's go and talk about the one drop rule. The one drop rule says the one drop rule is a social and legal principle of racial classification in the United States. It asserts that any person with even one ancestor of black ancestry is considered black. So my question is, where is that line? Because let's say, for example, a man has a white father and a black mother. He's a mixed race child, right? So we're going to just pretty much say he's 50-50, right? But what happens if it's less than 50-50? Like where is that line drawn? Like what if their great grandmother or father was black and they're like 10% black? Where do we stop considering them black, and where do we say, okay, at this point now it's a violation if we say that all people came from black people? You know what I'm saying? Is it the 50% mark?
I've always said racism, to be quite honest, it's not even a thing about exterior. It's a mentality of someone trying to feel superior to another person. And there are folks that are walking around here who have some black blood in them, but they pass off as white, and they are the most racist individuals, because race is like a Trump. If you play cards, play spades, you got big joker, little joker, you got the two of spades and all that, right? So say being white is the big joker, and then being black is at best you might be the two of spades, or even worse, you might be like the king or the joker, or be the jack. So it's a case where folks have always fought to keep their order. Like Asian might be the little joker. Hispanics, they might be the two of spades. And, I use that analogy to say that people want to keep their card order because they know they have some form of power. And for black folks, unfortunately, we're at best seen as the jack. and we trying to fight and raise up to a higher level. But to the 1960s, I did this in college. I wrote a paper about it. It changed. We got diverted. I just say it like that. We were on our own way. Folks in school. We saw the movie, like the movie you saw with um the ones in NASA, stuff like that, right? The young ladies who were working in the NASA project. You know,
Yeah, but
we were on
I'm
our
saying,
way.
yeah, what I'm saying is, though, like for people to say, hey, don't date outside your race. This is my ultimate question. When
Yeah,
people say don't date outside your race, like
yeah,
stay with your people. At
yeah.
what percentage? Like who governs that number? For example, for example, my son. If you look at my son
Yeah,
looks like a black, just as black, black man as me. But
yeah,
my son's mother is mixed, which makes him
yeah,
about 75% black. Like, is he
yeah.
black enough to still be like?
I think it
He was
And
still,
then,
depends
and
on
then
the
too, and
people.
then too, when you talk about
yeah,
being true to your culture, when people are born with a white parent and a black parent, you
Hmm.
know, like aren't they going against one side of the fence?
That's why.
I think
That's
it's like,
why the like. I'm sorry to cut you off.
no, you go right ahead.
But that's very interesting, and that's where the whole mulatto thing came in.
Exactly.
Because those are mixed race people. And let me just say this: mixed race people, black and white, that is. I can't speak for other mixed races. I can only speak for black and white, because that's the only thing that I know about in my family, especially. They are some of the most militant. When they are pro-black, they are pro-black. When they're on that white side, they're on that white side. It's a lot of, it's almost like pick a side. You know the term pick a side,
Mhm.
pick a struggle, pick one. Because the amount of mental torment that they go through, and I've had plenty of not only people in my own family, but girlfriends, and even not so much males that I don't recall having a whole bunch of mixed race male friends, but the women, same thing. Like, it's a trip. That
Mhm.
it's a lot of mental torment, because it is such a division. You have to pick. You're not white enough, or you're not black enough.
Mhm.
So you fall right in the middle, and it becomes, it's very traumatic for them.
Mhm.
So that's when the mulatto thing, and depending on your phenotype, being your skin color, the structure of your lips, your eyes, your nose, that's where that stuff starts to come into play.
Okay, but okay, let's swap gears. Hey, brother, Mr. KP, I appreciate your input, brother. I appreciate that, brother.
No problem. And I want to say one thing in close
Yeah, yeah,
before I
yeah. Go
go.
ahead, bro.
I want to say black men are the only ones to which we don't ostracize black women when they're with another race as much. I've seen it where if a Hispanic woman's with a different race, I'm not talking about white. If she's with a black guy, there's a certain amount of negativity she'll receive. Other races of women too, but being that the percentage of black women are more than black men, it's already shown. Unless we're doing some Mormon stuff, and she's willing to be married to with 2 or 3 other women involved, not every black woman's
Mhm.
going to have heterosexual one's going to have a black man available for them to
Mhm.
be married to. So, but when I see a young lady, like say she was with a white guy, I don't feel no hate, no, oh, why the hell she going on that side? I'll say,
Mhm.
well, lifestyle wise, they might match up better. And
Mhm.
mentally wise, they might match up better. Not just a whole, oh, he's a white guy, she's a black woman.
Mhm.
At worst, I might think might be a fetish thing, but she'll probably be
Mhm.
the first one to catch on to that to determine if the relationship's going to go any further, because the black woman will
So
know off the bat.
you saying it has to fall in one of those categories? You saying it has to be either a fetish thing, or you saying that two people of opposite cultures, races can't just see each other and say, you know what, I'm feeling this person.
Yeah, that's true. As a culture, like you were saying, if you're a guy that's brought up in a private school environment, like say Bron James's son, right?
Mhm.
It's been known that he dates Caucasian females because he's been around them. Like I was saying earlier, you feel comfort around those you grown up around. So he
Do you
knows
feel
he's
like
black.
Do you feel like LeBron's son is in violation?
Nah. Because if anything, that's one thing when you give your kids privilege, you put them in private school. Who are you going to be around most times than not in private school, unless you're in like a predominantly black area of affluent black folks. You can be around
So
Asian folks. white
So
folks.
are we saying it's acceptable for the wealthy, but if the brother that grew up in the hood wants to date it, he doesn't have the same right as LeBron's son because he was raised in 98% environment.
Most unfortunately, the lower Save the Last Dance told us that, like, when you live in an inner city area like New York or Chicago, folks have a lower intellect. I hate to say it like that, but in which they'll have a simplistic view of somebody, like, why are you dating an old girl? You know, da 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 da. You know, why you ain't sticking to your own? You know, you're a sellout. Da 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 da. And not knowing the fact of, like you're saying, about them just having common bonds and lifestyle stuff. And man, think about black guys. Like they're saying with the basketball player for New Orleans, most black guys date white girls.
I think that's
Same
a television myth.
I'm saying they same way as a fetish thing. I hate to say it because they normally go for the ones who either has a sister shape, as that term was. I think they call it. Heard of guys call it Paul, whatever that means. But you put that together, So they don't date the pencil shaped girl. So sisters might get a little irritated, but realize we still want a sister shaped type because we're dating a girl who has the same type of figure as you. She just has a different cover. You know, we don't look for the supermodel type. But I thank you for taking my call, and
brother.
Have a blessed evening.
And I'm appreciate it, brother. And I'm glad you brought that. I'm glad you brought that term sellout up, because that's crucial information right there. That's crucial information. But this is a question I want to ask because I'm specifically talking about relationships and love and this. Let me ask y'all this, and let me put this down here in the chat again in case anybody wants to chime in. This is what I want to ask y'all. Let's say I'll use myself for an example, right? I have a son, right? Let's say my son is over the next few years he's dating, right? He dates Regina. You know, he loves Regina. Regina, I see from the outside, the man, Regina is dogging him out. Regina kind of breaks his heart. He gets with Sarita. Sarita breaks his heart. These are all sisters, right? And then he gets with 2 or 3 sisters, and then one day he brings a Latino sister over here, and he's like, "This is Margarita or whatever her name is, right?" And Margarita is just like treating him with kindness and spoiling him. Me as a black father, am I supposed to say, "Son, you're in violation"? Don't pick the one that loves you. Stay true to your tribe. Is that what y'all are telling me? Anybody that's on the side of the fence that says, stay pro-black, is that what y'all are telling me? Is it that serious? First of all, let me get shout out to brother. I saw you over there, brother. Appreciate that super chat. He says, I believe these discussions about which race should do is very low vibrational and adds division rather than unity. I actually see the opposite, brother. I see the opposite. And the reason love people, not skin color. I agree on that 1,000.
That too.
1,000. But is that what y'all are telling me? That it's so vital to stay black that you sacrifice being loved?
No.
So you're not as pro-black as you say you are.
No. Let me say this.
Elaborate. And then we're gonna bring Brother Alpha Omega in.
Okay, cool. So I love black men, correct? I've expressed that. That's the type of relationship that I desire in my heart, in my loins, in everything. A black man, all right? However, I will say this, because there are a lot of traumas that our people have endured and have never dealt with, and if their parents have never made it a point to implement healing, then you're gonna have that happen, which are like we were talking about the scenario with your son, for instance. Whereas in a Latino or Latina household, it might not be like that. You see what I'm saying? Because they have a totally different way of doing things, or whatever the case may be, and it is what it is in that regard. It's this is where it gets complicated, because you should not allow anybody, regardless of race, to treat you in a way that lowers your vibration. Let me say that. Yeah. Because I think a lot of times people get, I'm going to be pro-black or pro whatever, and they can still beat my tail, or they can still act the dang on fool. No, I'm not for that. That's just like that would be akin to somebody enduring different traumas and so forth from a family member just because they're a family member.
Mm-hmm.
No, you can
So,
separate yourself from that family member.
so
I'm
you,
not for that.
so you personally, let's say over the next, let's just say you date a series of men over an extended period of time, you know, and they're black, and you're like, you know what, these brothers just aren't, they aren't up to par. They aren't checking the boxes I need checked.
Right.
And you know, Poindexter or Carlos or anybody from a different race comes at you, comes the right way, spits his game. You like, you know what? He pretty cool. Takes you on a date that you entertain, and it ends up turning into something real. Are you telling me you won't go the long way with one Carlos if he's checking all the boxes when all the other brothers wouldn't? You telling me you're gonna sacrifice your
I'm
keep
not
it 100 because you keep it 100. I
I don't feel
have to
like
hear
I'm
this.
sacrificing. Listen, let me tell
Okay,
you this. Let me
I
say
want to
this.
know.
I have dated nothing but black men. I've only talked to one white guy. We're
Okay.
still, friends or whatever the case may be. And I haven't given up on love per se with in a pro-black situation. I haven't given up on that. I like what I like. I'm into what I'm into. You see what I'm saying? I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
it's not saying that there's anything wrong with any other race or a woman or man that decide that that's what they want to do, if that's what they really want to do. When it becomes a problem is when you start to fetishize, and when the families or I'll say this, not just fetishizing, but when you don't truly love our people
Yep.
or people of another race, where you understand them, where the families treat you right, all of these different things, these are things you have to deal with. That's the reality of the situation. Let's call a spade a spade.
But
You know what
I'm
I
gonna
mean?
answer the question again because you're not really answering the question. I want to hear you answer the
I
question,
don't
yes or no.
I don't think so. Because I'm not attracted to that. That's
Okay.
something that I'm attracted to. I'm attracted to black men.
Okay. So you wouldn't. I
So
got
I'm
you. So your
not
answer is no.
saying. I'll say this.
Okay.
I'm not gonna deal with torment. Number one, I'm not gonna deal with torment from nobody.
True.
Let's just be clear on that. My choice is to be with a black man. I don't care if whoever, if I feel like it comes down to race and I'm gonna try something different, or if I've never been put in a position like that, so I can't really say, oh, that's who I want. I want to
Okay.
date them because I give up on black men because black men are scarred.
Okay.
No, because every relationship that I've ever had that has either failed or went by the wayside was black, and that did not diminish my love for my people or black men.
So what if there's a man, like what if there's a man with very fair skin, he shot at you, and somewhere in the conversation you found out that his parents were white, but one of his one of his grandparents were black. Like he had some black, like instead of being mixed 50-50, he was more like a 25% type black. Like he appeared white, but he had a little essence in him. Would he make the mark?
I don't look at
it
by ratios.
Because I'm trying to see where that mark is.
See, the thing
like when people say black, I'm trying to see, because see, some people say black and they'll say they'll consider, they'll say black and they'll consider that people of color. So if they see Latinos and Hispanic and this, they still consider that people of color. A lot of people say if you're not on the far extreme, you're so I'm just trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out where that line is.
I don't think that you can determine it by a ratio. I'm not going to do any
Is it by swag?
Huh?
Is it by his swag?
Yeah. How they
I know some cool white dudes. I know some cool white dudes.
I know. I used to talk to one, but I didn't see myself with him.
Okay, I got you. And that statement right there makes sense.
Let me be clear.
That statement makes sense. I got that.
I showed him too. Says the same thing. Oh, he's fine. Yeah, he is. But he did not. The attraction just was not there. See, because I look at other things. I see a love so deep with a black man. I really don't see that with any other race. If it were to happen, I'm not saying that it can't happen. I can't say that it won't happen.
Yeah.
But my heart, my spirit, everything rests with a black man. It just does. And I'm not, even I can't say that there is a mathematical configuration to determine certain, like, oh, if his mother's grandmother was black, and I don't even look at all of that now. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, because I was just trying to figure out, because some people that say pro-black is strictly skin color, and it's like, okay, well, I know some light skin, I don't know. I'm gonna bring brother. I was looking at what brother Salty Seagrass said. I'm sorry, Salty Seagoat. He says, I'm tired of not being black enough. Police are less particular, and it looks like you're a pretty fair skinned brother on the picture, brother. So I kind of feel what you're saying, like maybe.
So then we go into colorism. So now that's a whole totally different topic, which we probably should discuss somewhere in this, because colorism is an issue that we have within our people that's serious. Now that's where those ratios and all that other stuff come into play.
True. I'm gonna bring brother Alpha Omega in, brother. And brother, I know you're finna bring some heat because you're finna bring some knowledge, man. When it comes to interracial dating, interracial love, whatever you want to call it, what side of the fence are you on? What say you on this subject, brother?
I'm pretty open, man. Believe it or not, I had never dated outside of my, except for my ex-wife.
Okay.
And we a long way. Like I said, we were together 16 years. And I think it has a lot to do with common backgrounds, because she's Jewish. Her family went through the whole struggle of, what was it, the Nazis and all that kind of stuff. So I think that might have been a common bond, that component. And her being from Israel, she came with the whole Eastern, totally very feminine, all of that stuff. She just came with a whole different flavor from what I was used to. And I don't have the real social trappings of like everybody else with the whole black thing, because I didn't get black introduced into my lineage until my mom. My dad is French, and they happen to be dark. So being in the South, they married black, So she brought a lot of stuff into my life that I wasn't experiencing.
I'm glad you said that. You said she brought a different flavor, because this is one thing I do disagree with when I hear people say, and I hear brothers say, and it bothers me when I hear it. They'll say, hey man, I date this race of people, this race of women, because they're better. And they're better. And I'm like, bro, that's not the deal. Like I've dated outside my race, and no race of women is better than the other, but you will get different experiences. I've dated, white women, and there's a different energy that comes, but it's not better. It's different. Asian women have their own, like you say, flavor. And there's a flavor that black women have that other men love. And me as a black man, I know what it is they crave, because, I've experienced. So I'm glad you said that she brought a different flavor, because a lot of guys get that flavor mixed up with, oh, well, she's better. It's like, no, brother, all women bring a certain flavor. I like that word you use, man. That's crucial, man.
Yeah. I was in a place where I was looking for elevation, and the girls I was dating from where I was from, they were in stuff that I was already doing. I was in the street life, and that it was fine with them. But she introduced, she's like, you're smart. You need to go to college. And I probably wouldn't have went to college had it not been for her influence. You know what I mean? Like putting that into me and just believing in me on a higher level.
That makes sense, bro.
Ilya, I just want to address what you were saying about what Dr. Umar said. Now, I see that component to a certain extent. So I'm an educator and a real estate agent. And just knowing the facts of around ownership and how our funds of the black community always go out. They always go out.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because nobody owns it. As a culture, we only own about 40% of ownership versus whites owning 75% of the ownership. So even if they were to marry interracially, that if they marry a black guy and they decide not to traditionally own it, the funds going out of the community regardless, and vice versa. You know what I mean?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, brother. I appreciate you chiming in, brother. It's
y'all.
always a pleasure, man.
Right.
Appreciate it, bro.
Appreciate it.
Hey, you know, I took a poll earlier on Instagram. Out of 500 people, I asked, are interracial relationships a violation to the culture? 23% says yes, 77% say no, right? So that's where we are as I put that in around 9, 10 o'clock this morning. So 77% say no. But I want to talk about this real quick before I bring brother or sister RYS in. The brother earlier said something about being a sellout. And that's crucial. I'm glad he brought that up, because when you look at the term sellout, this is what it says, right? It says a sellout is a person who betrays something to which they owe allegiance. A sellout is a term that refers to blacks who knowingly or with gross negligence act against the interest of blacks.
Mm-hmm.
So are people telling, because that's a common term when someone dates outside of their race, they're like, instantly said, he's a sellout, right? And I get that. So what they're saying is they're neglecting their own race, right? But if that's a sellout, then what do you call like the men that kind of just go around and have several kids that they don't take care of? Like, what are they doing for the black community? Like if we're gonna start labeling sellouts, we have to start, if we're gonna go by that definition, anybody who's bringing harm to the black race is a sellout.
I agree.
So when you go to these hoods and people are shooting up the hood, killing black men every day,
you're selling out.
They're selling out. They're selling out. So I just want to bring that up now. So are you telling me that? And I kind of guess it goes back to what, I'm not sure if you said that earlier, that if you get with a woman that's not of black race and have children, I guess some would consider that as a disservice, like you're not multiplying the black.
I mean, it's about, again, it's about your upbringing, your reverence for your people. See, listen, at the end of the day, this isn't really about black or white. This is really about survival. Because if you think about it, people, the only reason why, if we want to get real deep and not so surface level, people, there are certain species of animals that don't mix with other species of animals because it will obliterate their species. That is a known fact. So it's the same thing with races of people. Okay, our people, I'll say this, black people are all over the world, and black is just the one side of the spectrum. You have black Asians, you have black Latinos, you have black Pacific Islanders, you have black people in Russia.
Oh yeah.
You have black people all over this. You have it's the spectrum. So the thing is this, and that's where, and I seen something in the comments where people were saying colorism is a joke. No, it's not. And I'm gonna tell you why it's not. Because colorism is a thing where people that are darker are not treated the same as people that are lighter because they are more akin to white people. That is a known fact. I have experienced it in my own family. My mom is the darkest person in our family. And it's a complete difference. And I've known that as a child. So when I started hearing the colorism conversation even come up, that's something we have to talk about. That's just like my great-grandfather. My great-grandfather, I never got to meet him, God rest his soul. He was from East Texas. Dark as night.
103.
Dark as night. My dad told me out his own mouth, and has told me this since I was a little girl, that he said that he found the lightest black woman or black passing woman he could find, so his kids could not go through the same thing he went through. So if you can't tell me that colorism is not a thing. It absolutely is, and it depends on your phenotype. Your phenotype is, again, your nose, the shape of your eyes, your lips. If you are a darker person and you have a more keen phenotype or European, looking phenotype, you are treated differently. That is a thing. If you have larger lips, larger nose, larger eyes, then you're treated differently, even if you're light skinned. That is a thing. So, the colorism discussion is what it is. You know what I mean? That it's something that we don't want to talk about, but we got to talk about these types of things.
It's a real
because
thing.
the only way we can heal as a community and as a people and as totality people, not just Black people, not just white people, not just Latin and all that. The only way we can coexist in this world or coexist in this life is understanding one another and having respect for one another and having hard conversations and being able to dissect these things and being respectful of one another's opinions and other people's experience. Just because you have not experienced it don't mean it can't happen.
True. Very true.
And that's just what it is. Let me just go on and put it out there. And yes, it is still a thing. And I'm gonna tell you how else it is still a thing, because I do brand ambassadorship work, right? It's a total difference when there's a lighter skinned female, and I don't even like to talk about stuff like this. But it's a thing. When there's a lighter skinned female or a darker skinned female, and vice versa with the men as well. Because it becomes a fetish to other races. So these are things that are actually happening. You can ignore it and be oblivious to it all you want to, but that stuff is really out here.
I feel you. I'm gonna bring RYS in. I'm not sure if that's brother RYS or sister RYS.
Yeah, it's brother.
What's going on, brother? So when it comes to interracial relationships, are you for it, or you think people should stay within their own?
I'm definitely for it, but and I'm the one that sent that super chat earlier about the low vibration. And
appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that.
And all that, and not about the super chat, but to clarify the low vibration part of it, because I think that comes off wrong, partly because you can only put 150 characters at a time, but I think the discussion about race and the skin colors and what Black people should do and whether they should be with white people and that I was saying that as to division in a way that I don't feel like we should find our identity in our skin color. And for the as many times as I've heard Ilya say, it's about survival. And I'm like, what is there to survive? Like, why is it that Black needs to survive? That sounds very like, and I understand a lot of people do identify with their race and their upbringing, their skin color, but that's not my identity, really. My body's not even my identity. You know
what, bro? I'm gonna tell you something. What you're saying is dead on, but there are very few people you're gonna be able to have that conversation with. We just had this conversation.
Think you one of those people that could, though.
Yeah. What I'm saying, we just had this conversation the other day in the power circle, and I was talking to a group of guys, and I was telling them, we were talking about some race issues, and I said, brother, there came a point in time where I hit a certain level of enlightenment, and I saw where the division came in. I saw the point of it, and once I passed that, I said, but it changed my world. It changed everything because I understand that the division. You can say what started, you can say the result of it, the horrible things that come from it. It still was created. If you take a white baby, an Asian baby, a Black baby, and put them in a room together, and they grow up together, they will have no idea the way this world operates. So
exactly. That's how I'm seeing the whole thing.
Yeah. So once you get to a certain level of enlightenment, and you surpass that again, you can look down on the planet as seeing that it's intentional to have us divided. Right. It's a whole nother experience, but there's not a lot of people you can have that conversation with, bro.
That's true.
I hear that, but does that make it not the, are we not trying to elevate people's mindsets to the point, you know what I mean? Because that's what I mean. Low vibration is probably just the wrong term for it, but I feel like,
to be honest, that's what you're saying is the sole reason I wanted to have this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
What you're saying is where this conversation is supposed to end.
That's what's up.
Yeah. So you're on point.
Can I say this to Mr. RYS? Excuse me.
Yeah.
It's not more so survival for. Let's I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna sound crazy, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
I can handle it.
But I am not talking about black people, indigenous people, or whatever, that side of the spectrum. When they say they are the original people,
yeah,
they may be the original people of this plane. If we start to talk about quantum physics and metaphysical aspects of life, it might not necessarily mean that everybody comes from us, but we are the particular original people of this plane. Given that, with that being said, it's not necessarily survival for us at all, because we are the original people of this plane. It's perpetuated in the media that we are declining. False. It is said that we are the minority. That is also false. All of that is it's a mental manipulation, and a lot of times when other cultures mix with our cultures, because we have the original, we're the original people of this plane. So when you're the original people of this plane, you have a different grasp as far as, and this is something our people have not tapped into fully, which is why Soul's page is so prolific, because talking about metaphysics, quantum physics, law of attraction, laws of the universe, this is something that's innate in us. Not to veer too far off of what we're talking about, but this goes right in line with what we are discussing, because we are the original people of this plane. So those are principles that have been distributed throughout, and it's being used kind of against us in ways, and we haven't tapped fully back into those aspects of the universe.
So can I ask you a question on that original?
Sure, absolutely.
So what I'm getting from the idea that the black man or black woman or black race was the original people, and just going by original, how people find value in the original, or higher value in the original, sounds a little bit like that non-black is somewhat diluted version of black, so they're less valuable, so we need to preserve the black as the most valuable, the original. And so I can't. Okay, I'm misunderstanding then.
No, it would be the other side of the spectrum, but it's reversed to our people, because our people don't understand who they are. There's a lot of people that see. Let me say this. A lot of times with interracial dating, it's a form of escapism. We're escaping our traumas, upbringing, don't want to deal with certain things, so we will deal with something else in order to not deal with what it is that we are. And when you come into what it is you are, then you can make a sound decision as to, do you really love this person because you love this person, or do you love this person because you're trying to negate dealing with certain issues that you have.
But see, that the reason why I can't get on that page is because that requires me to see the race of the person as a factor somehow, rather than just whether or not I love that person for who they are. It's not, hey, this is a white woman, I feel like if I'm with her, I can escape my black issues. I can't get on that page because I don't see.
Experiences are all different. That's just like, and that's not to say that, let's just put it this way. I'm from Kansas City, like I've said many times before. There are people in every hood where there were Latin people in the hood, there were white people in the hood, and everybody was treated the same, because maybe it's classism. But race becomes a thing because
people talk about it and is paid attention to.
This is true, but at the same time, there are certain things that are in our DNA that is different. It just is what it is. It makes up our genetic makeup is not all. I mean, it's the how can I put this? I'm trying to say it in a way because it's in my head, but I'm not quite sure how to articulate it.
I think I know, because there's a reality to it. We see it. We can see what's before us. We can see the skin, we can see our races. I think my thing is, and I'm just like on Soul's page, where this is where the conversation is definitely going to be going, and I can tell it is. But that's where my mind is right now, is that it's not, even though it's a physical reality, I'm just beyond that, the physicality of race and skin color, and realizing that we're a lot deeper than that.
Sure.
So that the conversation just seems a bit elementary, if for lack of a better word. It just seems like, I don't know why we're dealing with whether Black people should date outside their race, when race is not as heavy as people make it out to. Like, even though the media talks about it, we know better. You know what I mean? And a lot of people mindsets maybe need to come up to where ours is, or where you guys are. But
you know,
that's definitely where I was coming from.
Yeah, I can identify what you're saying, man. Like if I meet a woman right now, like I literally look completely through that. Like that has absolutely zero. I mean, zero.
Like, you can see it, but you really don't see it. Like,
I really don't see it.
Your eyes work, but it don't matter.
I'm looking so much deeper. You know, at this stage in my life, oh brother, it has absolutely. I mean, of course, you know, and I'm always. I mean, my thing is, I'm a Black man. I can lower my vibration to say, you know, I'm a Black man. I want to see my Black. You go to my Instagram page, but I'm always up in Black sisters writing books, opening companies. You know, I love my people, like everybody should. But when it comes to me choosing a woman in a relationship, I look at that like I look at my religion. Like, my religion is something so sacred and so personal. Like my religion doesn't fit anybody else's religion. It's my own. So when I bring a woman to my life,
has no name,
it's like, say again.
Like, my religion has no name, basically.
Yeah. So when I'm talking about entertaining a woman, especially for the long haul, brother, I'll be honest. The last thing on my mind at this stage of my life is the color of her skin.
Yeah.
Because and let me say this, because I've been in situations where like I've tried to entertain a lot of sisters at a time, like sisters that vibrate where I vibrate, and they might be like, oh, they might be doing something different, and another sister come in and she's trying to shoot her shot. Why would I deny myself love just because her skin is a shade different color?
You shouldn't. Yeah. That's why I was saying what I was saying. Like, that is something that's innate in me. For me, I what I like is what I like. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna veer from what I like. It's not to say that any other race of people is not great, wonderful, their experiences, all of that.
And I get what you're saying.
I just don't.
But to your point, Aliyah, I get what you're saying, because if I met a woman and she had certain traits that I just didn't like, it wouldn't care what her skin is, because it would just be, I just wouldn't like that. So I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. Like, if you don't like it, it doesn't make it a good or bad. Hey, brother RIS, I appreciate you chiming in, giving your take on it, bro.
I appreciate you taking my call, man.
Thanks a lot, man. We got my brother from Florida, my homie, one of my physical mentors, brother Mr. Infinity. Brother, when it comes to my brother, what's going on? Let me give you at ease, man. What's going on, big bro?
Man, can you hear me? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you good, man. I can hear you good, man.
Hey, I'm down here and walk around downtown St. Pete, man. Just been chiming in on the show, but sound like a good show.
Yeah, man, and I want your take on this, bro. You know, when it comes to interracial relationships, are you for it? Or are you against it? Are you on the fence? What's your take on it?
Man, that's a good question, man. There's so much. It's funny. I was talking to my son the other day, man, and he said something that just shocked me. He said, man, I was like, man, what kind of girls you? He's 15. And he was like, man, I like all girls, man. I just don't like dark-skinned girls. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, but I got to understand, man, that's how we've been programmed. Like, when you're young, when you're your youth, all you see is Barbie dolls or white girls. Everybody on every television show, they paint the picture of the white girl, light skin is pretty. And so as you program, I feel like all of us are programmed. Like, so, and so as all of us are coming out of our conditions and our programs more and more, like, you know what I'm saying? And so I think as we raise our level of awareness, I think our choices in life change. Like, You can't eat the same foods you used to eat. You can't date the same people you used to read. You can't listen to the same music you listen to. Like, as you evolve and you grow and you learn who you really are as a spiritual being, I feel like that's the only, like, and that's one thing I do agree with the sister. And she's saying, once you really understand who you are, rooted in your genetic code, I don't know. Like, me personally, like, I'm comfortable with all people. Like, you know what I mean? I love whites, blacks, red, yellow. Like, I don't really see, I like the other previous guests you had on. Like, I don't see color really, but I know I'm programmed to see, man, like, oh man, this white girl, man, she pretty. But like, is she really pretty, or have I been programmed that she's pretty?
I'm glad
Like,
you said that, bro.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that because I'm starting to understand something real quick. It's just not, I'm starting to understand it. Like I hear what Ali is saying, and I know Ali is conscious, she's woke, she's smart, she's very intelligent. So her decisions, I know this. And I'm looking at Shakira. Shakira left a comment. She says, I would never date outside my race. And I know Shakira. I know how Shakira's mind works. She's smart, she's intelligent, she's this. And then I'm listening to what Brother Infinity is saying, and I'm starting to put something together. Like I'm wondering if it's more men that are open to it as opposed to women because of the programming. Like, I'm going back to when I was 6 years old, thumbing in JCPenney magazines. I was lusting after the white women because that's all I saw. So and on television, that's all I saw. So when I hit my teens, there was a point in time where it was younger than my teens, where it seemed like it was programming that white women were prettier.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's why more sisters are like, no, like the world has been so much against me that no, I want to stick with this to keep.
Yeah, because it's the show that's even possible. Like, you know what I mean? Because there's so many, and I work in branding and marketing. Mm-hmm. That's what I do. Make stuff look good. Mm-hmm. For the masses, so people can be intrigued enough to purchase or to tap into that said experience. Mm-hmm. And our people, I'm not even gonna say our people have been programmed that from a religious standpoint, really based in religion, to be quite honest mm-hmm. with you, mm-hmm. that dark people of the light and people of darkness, mm-hmm. and they've taken that literally. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Instead of looking at it from a metaphysical perspective or an energetic perspective, saying that a dark person, a person of darkness, is not necessarily someone that is brown skinned like you and I, but more so a person that is dark mm-hmm. in heart, dark in spirit. Yeah, I'm a person of the light. Which we the people of the light, because we the people who can be out in the sun the longest and all this other stuff. That's just a DNA code that we have. Yeah, I'm gonna bring Adriana in and get her take on it and see if this is leaning more toward a female thing. So Sister Adriana, thank you for coming on. Thank you for always adding some sauce to the comment section. When it comes to interracial relationships, are you for it, or would you rather black people stay with black people?
Well, I'd rather black people stay with black people.
Okay, can you elaborate on it?
Well, I come from a mulatto great-grandmother, and she was kicked out from her white parent who was with a black woman because she wasn't dark enough. And I just think, to even go further, wouldn't it be nice if everybody just saw each other for their soul instead of just seeing what's what on the surface? That would be nice.
Yeah.
That would be a perfect world. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, we're not there. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are starting to use their mind's eye more often, but you still got the masses that aren't. So I look at the mind's eye, and a certain culture of people just having displayed a level of compassion that I believe black folks would give to them. It's the level of reciprocity of compassion from white people and how it is with black people is different. It's different. I know black women that have taken care of white kids, Hispanic kids, they own kids, even the baby daddy other kids from the other chick. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a level of compassion that I believe Black folk have that's different from white people, just on the strength of that.
Agreed.
That's a different angle.
Hey, can I say something?
Please.
So I want to this woman's perspective on this, because for me, like, I'm into fitness, right? And I'm really big into fitness. I'm really like in the holistic living, and I live in a place, man, Clearwater, Tampa, St. Pete, where I don't see a lot of Black women.
I knew this was gonna come up.
I'm just being honest. I don't see. It's hard to be attracted to something if you don't see it, if you're not around, if they're not in your immediate environment, you know. And so what and I don't know, maybe it's just where I'm living at, and I don't know if other people experience the same thing, but I don't. It's not. It seems like in the fitness culture, in the health, in the working out, and a lot of Black guys are just into that. Like, you know what I'm saying? What do you say to the Black guys that are really into their health and really into being in shape, and all they see around them is white women?
You know, I understand what you're saying, bro. And I've been down there, you know, when I came down there to visit you, and I get what you're saying. Like when you go down to that beach, it's like you see 85, 95% white, fit, attractive women. When I was there, I saw very few Black women. And if that's your environment, I mean, it's almost like, you know, that's where you would lean. I do know, like, here in Texas, when it comes to that whole fitness, you know, female fitness, it's heavy here in Texas. It's heavy. But I think a person is a product of their environment. And I'm not sure if that was Aaliyah saying that earlier about certain family members that were going to certain schools, and then the brother brought up like LeBron James' son. It's like, man, like, how do you? But at the same time, when a person, say for example, like you're in an area where it's majority a certain type woman, if you were to get with a certain a white woman and be in a long-term relationship, do you think you're failing the Black race? Do you think you're?
Honestly, so I think something inside of me is probably subtly like longing for my match in that in my same race, man. Honestly, like, just to be completely honest, you know what I'm saying? But
that makes sense too, bro.
Yeah, but love is love, man. I feel like love is an action word. And so if I see it, if I'm with a white woman and I'm showing her love and she's showing me love, she's like helping me grow, like, man, it's whatever. At the same time, you gotta live life and enjoy.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I want to know, why do you really deep down long for that? It's because you know in that household who the teacher is gonna be, and it's gonna be who? If you with that white woman,
It's gonna be me.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be that white woman, because the mother is the teacher.
Maybe that's it.
So you will be perpetuating kind of a Black community shoulders, because our kids don't see many Black teachers.
It's true.
So you're saying that, because I kind of missed something. You're saying that if a man gets with a woman of a different race and they have children, then that are you saying that child isn't being raised like they should because they're lacking that essence part of it?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's still perpetuating that the teacher will be of a white person. You're not giving your child a chance to see that a teacher could be a Black person,
but if
which could be their mother.
But if it's his mother, I think it's just as valuable.
Yeah.
Can I say this? I'll say this. I don't have a problem with interracial dating if the people are taught about other cultures and how to respect other cultures and how to implement other cultures into the lifestyle of that said couple. And so
there you go, Nico.
It doesn't happen often. Let me just say that. Just like with when my aunt took me and my sister down to Waverly, Missouri, and was trying to comb my sister's hair and do all this different stuff to show that two black little girls this may be what you get as grandchildren. This may be what you get. So let me show. And mind you, we'd never been back. It was an experiment. Okay. Yeah. And my thing is it was never taught that it's more so an acceptance thing and not so much or a tolerance thing and not so much, okay, these are people of different hues, shapes, sizes, whatever the case may be. And everybody has a level of value. Everybody is born with a heart, a mind, so forth. Everybody should be treated with dignity, respect, kindness, mindfulness, things of that nature. And it's not necessarily that way. Our people, we are an innate, natural, kind people. We've been taught to be hateful to one another, if you really want to be honest.
I think everybody's been taught to be hateful, though.
Our people really so much more. And I'm going to tell you why. Because being, again, and I don't want to sound like I'm over here like woke and stuff like this, but this is something that I'm super passionate about because we don't have these conversations enough in our community where people, I don't have a problem with anybody of any other race. Let me just say that. I don't. Got no white neighbors, live in a Latin community. I have no problem with coexisting with anybody else. Yeah. I just love my people.
Yeah.
And there's no disrespect to anyone else. However, the amount of reverence that we don't have for one another, and we're not willing to, seeing people's value as opposed to, all this other miscellaneous crap is more prevalent. And it just is. And our people are naturally nurturing, forgiving people. Look at how things transpire for us. Mm-hmm. We're naturally that way.
You know what, though? I'm soaking on something. that Sister Adriana said, and I'm looking at a few comments. There are a few brothers that disagreed with you saying that the mother is the teacher. I think you can be kind of, like he said, the father is the teacher. He said the mother, I think you can go both ways on that. But I'll say this, because I'm looking at my personal experience. Me being a single father, my son lives with me and it's just me and him. So and I've dated women of, that were black, sisters, and I've dated women, but my thing is it never came down to like I've seen other races than black women be very good mothers. So I can't really say that a black mother is always going to be the best choice for a black child. I think it's going to be individual. I think I really can't pinpoint that. Because if I was to marry a non-black woman, I think she could add just as much value to my child's life as a sister. Because she's not like my son. She's not teaching my son how to be a man. She's just teaching him compassion and love. And she's not teaching him how to be a black man. She's just teaching him how to be, But I don't know. That's just my take on it.
I agree with you, so I think, at the end of the day, the Trump card in 2021, man, as we evolve, like it's consciousness and the level of awareness that people have, I think, and I really don't think you can put a color on that. Like, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but can you talk to that a little bit? So as far as, because it's a lot of, I don't want to say like woke sleep, like, but just using those words for cliche. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of women, any race could have a certain level of awareness that you can vibrate and align yourself to. Like, and I don't know if you have to be black just because I'm black, like, So, what do you guys think?
I think at a certain point, a lot of people start seeing past the race and just start seeing more of a vibration. And when I say vibration, like when I talk about when I look for a woman, I'm looking at is she a reflection of me? And I want to come back to what Adriana and Alea was saying in a second about the mother. But I think it's a vibration. Like when I look at a woman, before I see anything, before I see how thick she is, before I see what color she is, I'm looking to see if she's a reflection of me. In other words, it's like, do you see the world how I see it? Because I know some women that are not black, they see the world how I see it. They see the negative vibration in the world, they see the positive, they see the peace, they see the separation from the matrix. And it's like, if you see the world how I see it, how can I not select you over the woman that doesn't, regardless of how she sees it? But so I agree with you, Brother Infinity. Like at some point we got to look past that. But going back to what Adriana and Ali was saying, like you can have a white single mother, and you can just you can be in a community of a lot of black toxic men, and you can have a Latino brother come in and love your child like his own. You know, should you neglect that just because he's Latino and say, no, you know what? I'd rather have his toxic black father in his life because he's a black man. Like where's the line going with that too?
That's a good question.
It all comes back down to the character.
I addressed that one before in the very beginning when I said it. If you're toxic, now that's something different. Now, I don't subscribe to people being toxic just for the say, oh, they black, so I'm gonna let somebody beat my ass.
Yeah, true.
That don't even make sense. You know what I mean? Like nobody is that caught up in being attracted to something that they will allow their highest and greatest good to be compromised just because of some race. Now that's ridiculous. I'm saying innately, there are some people that say, oh, I'm open to anything, whatever, and that's fine. That's, it's nothing wrong with you being open. My issue is when you are with certain types of people and they lack respect for even like black men that date or marry outside of their race, and then that particular woman does not have reverence for the culture as a whole. Therefore, showing respect to the black woman as much as you show respect to the black man with that black phallus. Let's keep it a buck. Because in our reality, black women, we have been disrespected. We have been totally disrespected on so many different levels when it comes to our men deciding to date outside of their race, because you find a sacred space with another woman. Now, I don't have a problem with you doing that, but your mama's black. If you got sisters, they black. And everybody needs to respect that which you have come from, and not just you and your person. You see, because being from the Midwest, there's a lot of that disrespect. I remember there was one time that, and I'm kind of and let me just put it out there. It might come off a little masky. I'm very passionate about this type of stuff because being from the Midwest, there's a lot of degradation when it comes to black women. And another reason why I moved to the South is because black men in the South are more apt to loving black women.
That's true. I hear women saying that a lot.
And that is the truth, because in the Midwest, like for instance, like I told you, I've said this, I think a little bit earlier, I have 10 boy cousins, and all of them, if not one, is with a black woman. And she does not completely look black. She's Creole. And she looks more, mixed. All the rest of them are with something else. Every last one.
I feel you on that.
We just have a different, I think black women, we just have a different experience. We do. And then,
I agree with that.
And let me say
I agree with that.
Let me say this as well to the gentleman who has spoken and said that they don't look at a black woman and be like, oh, she's with a white man, she yada yada yada. That's a lie. Now that is a lie, because there are so many black men that have a problem with black women being with other races of men, because they decide that they want to open up their spectrum to be with a man that may revere them a little more, not be so toxic, if you will. All of these different things. And then it's a crazy look on your face. Not you and not you, Mr. Infinity, but like in general, it's a crazy look in your face, because you don't understand how Serena, for instance, all these different women in the media that are with white men that may have treated them in a way that they, you know what I mean? She was dating black men. Serena, for real. She was the epitome of her body and all of that stuff. She was hypersexualized.
Do y'all think
she got with somebody else that treated her totally different now?
So do y'all think Serena, and I'm talking to Adriana and you, Aaliyah, do y'all think Serena is violating?
I do.
So
In a sense, yeah.
maybe I think the only time I feel that way.
So time out. One of y'all took a long pause, and Aaliyah said, "I don't."
No,
so are you saying it's a difference when a man does it and a woman does it? Because there was no gap when y'all were talking about the brother. It was like, no, it's wrong. He needs to stay pro.
No. There's some black women that are like, I am black men, because of the different traumas they've been through. Again, this is about respect. If you choose to be with somebody else of a different race, man being with someone of a different race, or woman deciding to be with somebody of a different race, have reverence for their culture and their people, period. And we don't even have to, none of this will even be of a discussion. It's not until then will race not be talked about. And that's just what it is. You see what I'm saying? Because it's levels of disrespect. Now, I don't know. I don't think that I heard anything. And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think that I've ever heard Serena say anything about, I just threw her out there because she was one that has dated black men and then, was courted by a white man and eventually married. And we don't know how the elite do, or the so-called elite do, and the people that are in the upper echelon. We don't know how they got their crap going anyway. So I can't really use them as an example. So let's maybe use somebody a little bit smaller, or whatever the case may be, in prestige. If those people are saying black men aren't this, black men aren't that, yada, 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 I can't. Candace Owens is a good one. Let's use her. Because she talks down about her people, black men in particular, when she's with a white man, because there are some things that she has maybe experienced. See, this is the thing. Yes, she did date. Yeah. I think he was sexualized or something. He was like real, like into her, but Drake is a dog anyway, so that's neither here nor there. He's just not whatever. But anyway, Candace Owens has spoken down about black men being with her white husband. That is when it's that sellout thing. Yeah. Just like vice versa. If a black man is with his white wife and he's talking down, I think that I seen an old video not too long ago of James Earl Jones with his first wife, which was, he said that she was a mongoloid, which is like, I guess she was red hair, so I consider her to be white, but he said that she was, I guess, either Russian, Asian mix or something like that, and he was describing the black women with her sitting next to him, and it was just a tear down fest.
Dang, not good.
Like, that's where it becomes an issue when you're with somebody. If you choose to be with somebody because you love them, love that person, but don't disrespect their people because you love them and then you want to tear somebody down. This is when it becomes a space to educate and to vibrate high and ascend higher. When you create a space of respect and love and dignity and reverence and mindfulness and thoughtfulness and kindness and all of these different things that we are big on. But if you're not doing that, then we're gonna keep having the race conversation.
I feel you. Hey, Adriana and Mr. Infinity, I appreciate y'all calling in. We're gonna get 2 more people in here, but I want to ask y'all a question before we go. I want to ask one of y'all a question each, right? So earlier we were talking about the term sellout, and the term sellout says a sellout is a person who betrays something to which they owe allegiance. A sellout is a term that refers to blacks who knowingly or with gross negligence act against the interest of other blacks. So brother, sister, I'm gonna go to the ladies first. Sister Adriana, if a person is going out to eat, right, and they choose the Chinese buffet over the restaurant next door, which is soul food, do you think they're being a sellout? By definition. By definition.
By the what?
By definition. If they're neglecting.
If they're neglecting, yes, by definition, they are being a sellout.
Okay, I just want to ask you that. And Brother Derek, if someone is going out car shopping and they buy a Nissan, car, whatever Nissan car, and they could have went and purchased a Chrysler 300 that was made by a black man, do you think they're being a sellout?
So you saying they could have bought the same car or two different cars? They prefer.
No, they could have went and bought a car that was built by a black man, but they went and chose a Nissan instead. Are they selling out the black community? By definition, if they're neglecting,
by definition, for sure. I mean, I feel like that's what we do as blacks every day anyway, though. But yeah.
Agreed. I agree with that.
That was heavy.
I mean, that's the truth.
Yeah, I feel you, brother. Well, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all chiming in, man.
I appreciate you having me, so man. It's
we're gonna take a 60 second commercial break, and we're gonna bring some more people in. Y'all.
Good to meet you, ladies. Thank you.
Nice to meet you as well.
All right, boy.
Bye, y'all.
Actual quotes that you probably never even heard before. He said that Henry Ford was aware of it. All of them were aware of it. This is the secret inner teachings that Napoleon Hill was not necessarily able to give out. This is one of the things that's missing from the secret. You are actually a broadcast tower that's broadcasting energy into the universe. And you wonder why you get the results you get and the people show up in your life, because it's what you're broadcasting.
It took me the longest out, when things weren't going my way, I was like, you know what, there's something I'm not doing. And I was trying to figure out what that thing was. I would go to these books and say, you know what am I not doing? What do these people know that I don't know? What do I see people that are succeeding? Like, what do they know that I don't know?
Brothers, I just want to drop a plug real quick. If y'all aren't part of the Power Circle, you are missing out. Over the last 45 days or so, man, my life has done some amazing things strictly based off of the brothers that I choose to sharpen iron with on Sundays, man. Check the link in this video or one of my videos, Power Circle. Check it out. I'm telling you, brother, you will be enlightened. So we have two new faces with us. We have Sister Victoria Chestnut, which is my sister. She's fresh out of Houston as well. Now where y'all in Connecticut?
Rhode Island right now because of the taxes.
Okay, Rhode Island. And then we have Brother Mo Thugs in. Yeah. So I want to ask a question first before we even dive into it. Sister Vicky, when it comes to interracial relationships, what side of the fence are you on?
I am pro what aligns with your spirit and what aligns with your purpose. That's okay. What I'm on. I mean, so me personally, we're like besties. So Soul knows that I am married to a black man. But I have had interracial relationships with other people in the past. And I wanted to kind of give some background because I totally could have went the opposite direction. Like my biological father, he is deceased. And my former stepfather was a very broken black man himself. He idolized, in all the low functioning ways, he idolized white beauty. At some point he even revealed to me that he was with my mom because she looks white. Like my mom is not my skin color. And is biracial. So there was years and years of psychological, emotional, even spiritual damage done to me as a black girl growing up in a house where, black beauty was never acknowledged. My hair wasn't good enough, skin wasn't nice enough, all these things. And so I could have easily gone what some people would call the coon route. I could have easily started dating all these other people for all the wrong reasons. But I feel something that we need to acknowledge in our community is a lot of the unhealed trauma and things that our people have gone through and just haven't faced. And that's a big part of the reason why we have some of these conversations and we get into these spats, because I feel at the core, there's a lot of hurt and damage and trauma at the base. But as far as when I met Derek, bringing it back into my adult years, I was still open to dating other people. Deep down, like, I was hoping I could find what I was looking for in a Black man. But when I met Derek and we started talking, it wasn't his Blackness that made that decision for me. For me, there were more important things. Like when we had our first 4-hour conversation on a rooftop looking at the moon, I asked him, "What is your purpose? Where are you trying to go?" Because when I met Derek, you know this soul, he didn't have no money.
Zero.
So
we were living in his car, wasn't
he? Yeah, he was sleeping in his car to make it to work at 4 a.m., leaving at 11. Like, so I saw beyond all that, and it was like, okay, so I see the drive, I see you have discipline, so let me figure out what else is going on here. So I asked him, what is your purpose? What are you trying to do? Where are you trying to go? Do you have a plan to get there? I can already see from your actions, because we've been introduced like a year prior, that you are disciplined. So what else is going on with all that, And so for me, this is where it comes back into find someone that aligns with who you are, where you're going, and what you want. And if you don't know who you are and you don't know your purpose, I'm speaking to the men, then you shouldn't even be dealing with women to begin with. Because how are you going to bring a woman into your situation, Black, white, purple, ET? How are you going to bring a woman into your space if you don't even know where you're going as a man?
True.
Right?
Very
and so
true.
even my brother, for example, asked me, about women, advice for women and things like that. And it's like, John, don't worry. Like, I'm not going to judge you if who you marry is a white woman or something like that. What will break my heart is if you marry because of a sense of Black inferiority. That's what will break my heart. What will break my heart is if you marry a woman and then you have no purpose. Then you become this hollow shell of your former self. That's what will break my heart. True. So for me, it was just like, stick, if you're going to date interracially, just make sure you're doing it for the right reason.
Mm-hmm.
And then make sure it's not for toxic reasons, like, Black superiority or a fetish, like y'all talked about earlier. I don't think those are the right reasons. And then, of course, the other things that add up in alignment, make sure her ass ain't dirty. Check the bathroom, check her kitchen. Does she know how to boil water? Check. So
that's a real thing.
Yeah. Yes, I know. And I've had plenty of guys tell me that, Vicky, you was looking out because I went to the bathroom and I found some in the medicine cabinet. I'm like, oh, Jesus. So,
Yeah, clean woman is crucial. Mr. Mo Suggs, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, so how you doing?
Our life is good, man. So when it comes to interracial dating, man, interracial love, whatever you want to call it, or are you for that, or do you think that Black people should just stay with Black people?
Personally, I believe I'm gonna kind of say what Victoria said. It really comes down to who connects with your spirit. So, like yourself, I was in the military, lived a few years overseas, got to do some traveling. All this before, like age of 22, which a lot of these topics they stem from, United States, right? So a lot of people that look like myself, I'm not saying that they aren't, but if they don't get a chance to explore outside of the realm of the United States, then they won't kind of get a different perspective. So, just me being open earlier, if it really fits in your spirit and your essence, then man, go for it. Man or woman, go for it. That's how
I wonder how much plays into our parents. Because I listened to what Victoria said, about that father figure and how there were some, And then like I know Aaliyah's like all the men in her family are like solid, all of from A to Z. So she saw certain things. So do you think what we see as even men, what we see, like what I saw in my mother, what Mo saw in his mother and aunts, that had anything to do with the way we swing?
Yeah.
Like, and I guess that goes back to the toxicity. Like, I guess that's where a lot of people may run from. Like, if you had a bad experience with a mother or aunt, that might be something you say, well I want to lean toward a different direction, strictly because it goes back to this trauma, you know. So I don't know. That's an important. I don't know. That's something to factor in, I guess. Go ahead, brother. What you saying, Mo?
So me personally, I said, yeah. So me personally, my father raised myself and my brother. So my mom had it was 6. She had 6, and I was her youngest. So I didn't meet my mom till I was 21 in the military. If you ever seen the movie Antoine Fisher, that was my life, right? But I've done a lot of work up until this point, and I do have a relationship with her now. But yeah, there's definitely trauma that was there. But so when people say, hey, your mother's black, right? If you could use me, for example, hey, she wasn't there the first 21 years, so you can't say that, you know? So, you know, so it all depends on it comes down to the person and whatever they've got going on. If they decide whatever they decide, just do it for the right reasons, you know, and not just like have a hidden agenda, you know?
Sure.
Yeah, I feel you in that. Rick Lander says black culture has toxic aspects, just like white culture definitely does. So to idealize one culture over the other doesn't make sense in the long run. We should merge the cultures more so we can retain. I feel where you're coming from, brother. There is trauma on all ends. Like when we think trauma, you know, it's easy for me as a black man to see black trauma, but brother, it's trauma in every single race.
Absolutely.
Yeah, brother, they live, or sister, they live. I can't see that picture. They live. When it comes to interracial dating, interracial love, are you pro interracial, or do you think or are you for interracial? Or do you think black people should just stay with black people? You muted, brother.
Hey, yeah, I apologize, my bad. No, I think men should pick the best men for them. Period. This is not about. Say it again.
Say it one more time.
I said men should pick the best men for them. Period.
You mean women?
Yeah. I mean, excuse me, but men should pick the best women for them. Period.
Okay, I was just making sure. We better start a whole other conversation.
I know, right? My bad, brother.
Yeah.
No, I think black men should pick the best women for them. Period. If you look at the stats, black men date and marry white women the least, but majority of black men date and marry Asian or Hispanic women the most. Mm-hmm. So
I think, and maybe I'm wrong. I think every single person, at least in the earlier stages of their lives, they for the majority like their own skin because they can identify with someone looking like them. They're seeing something, it's kind of like
I think that used to be us. I think anybody in the age group of 30, 35 and up would have that sentiment. Men 35 and down do not look at the world that way. Dr. Claude Anderson talked about this in terms of black people being the permanent underclass in America. If you want black boys to stop dating out their race, take them out of the public schools and homeschool. You're around other groups of women. If you talk to younger black men, younger black men and younger black boys, and you ask them compared to their young black female counterpart, why do you date out? And they'll say, they're nicer to me. That's all it is. My daughter is chocolate. She's real dainty, real feminine. She wears dresses, perfume, earrings, all that stuff. And I look at her dead in the face and says, baby, you beautiful. And I said, you gorgeous. I said, what you're going to have is you're going to have a hard road ahead of you. Let's be honest, because black women have given you a hard reputation you got to beat. And the world views black women a certain type of way. So you have a hard road to beat. Is it fair? No. Can you win? Yeah. You only need one black man or whatever. Man, she like Hispanic boys too. So I don't really knock her for that. I said, you need one man to go sit your butt down with. That's a win.
So you mentioned men 35 and under. Are you saying they're more likely to date outside of their race?
Yes, absolutely. They're not racist.
And I see that. I see. Well, I would say 35. I would go more like anything less than 30. Anybody?
Yeah,
The people up to 30?
I think 35 is like playing
Yeah,
with it.
it's heavy. You know, it's normal. You know, and I see what Brother DT puts that social media has changed that. So how much do y'all think social media has changed and people even entertaining the fact of going outside their race?
It doesn't. None of it. It's just an enhancer.
blurred
The vast majority of young black boys for 8 hours a day are around non-black women.
You mean like in the schools or
in the schools? That's where they're at. That's the only place where they intermingle with them.
Yeah. Well, I can kind of agree with what Brother DT is saying because, like when I think about myself being at home and going to the places where I go, it's majority. Well, I won't say it's always a majority, but for the most part, it's I'm around people that look like me in most places. If it wasn't for social media, I think social media has opened up the world to me, where people outside of my race that I even interact with, you know, that wouldn't even be a thing if it wasn't for social media. So I can see how social media has played a huge part in because if you're in a neighborhood that's all black and that's all you see, then that's pretty much what you're going. But social media, you get on Facebook and get on the gram and you're seeing everybody. I think social media has played a huge part in this newer generation.
Well, I think it's only played a part in this respect. You can reach across the globe now and talk to somebody. Let's just be honest. If Miss Victoria started an Instagram right now, I guarantee she'll get 100 DMs from dude all the way around the world talking about, hey, what's up, girl? Hey, what's up, girl? You get what I'm saying? That's probably not where her mind at, and I get that. But what I'm saying is, she would get dudes from all around the world trying to hit on her, as opposed to if you just walked outside the door, Miss Victoria probably may get maybe one or two dudes missing some, and then maybe another two dudes to be a little bit more crass, right? Let's just be real. Like her approaches may not be that aggressive, but in them DMs, yeah, man, you're talking about accessibility is on a whole new level. That's why if you look at the study that talked about Tinder and OkCupid, they were saying women get far more DMs and acceptability across social media than men do. So when we ask the question, do black men want to get married? All you can do is ask black women to open up them DMs. That's telling you the truth right there.
Yeah. So let me just make sure I'm hearing you right. Are you saying, because correct me if I'm wrong, are you saying like when a lot of sisters are talking about relationships and marriage, that the men are there?
Absolutely, the men are there.
Yeah.
Let's look at the stats, right? Let's look at the numbers for a second, okay? Yeah. And this is a hard, ugly math problem that we need to fix, but it's one of these math problems that young black men are done trying to figure out. So this is why when you're asking young black men it's either to date out of your, let me rephrase it. If you take a young black boy who's on his point, right? It was a 64% of black men are in the middle class, right? You take, and this guy's 30 and below. He goes to his mom, and who's a black single mother, and she goes, "Hey, mom, I've got two women. I've got one sister here who has a child out of wedlock, and I've got this this non-black woman who does not have a kid outside of wedlock. Mom, which one should I pick?" 9 times out of 10, his mother's gonna tell you pick the one without no kids.
Okay, pause right there. Vicky and Aliyah, what do you think about that statement? Do you agree with what he's saying? Or do you say no, go with the sister instead because you're helping the black community?
No. Like I've said before, and I'm gonna keep saying this. If it doesn't fit, if that's not what a person can be attracted to another person, or like I said, I'm attracted to black men. Okay. That's what I like. That's what I'm into innately. That's just, it is what it is. If it does not resonate with my spirit, or I don't think that I can handle either side of that spectrum, then I'm going to choose what's going to be best for me, period.
But I'm talking about, and that specific thing,
I would.
And before you answer though, before you answer, I'm gonna read this one more time. I'm gonna read this again. It says, a sellout is a person who betrays something to which they owe allegiance. A sellout is a term that refers to blacks who knowingly or with gross negligence act against the interest of blacks. And this brother said, okay, he get a scenario, a son going to his mother, hey, I have two women I can choose from. One is a single black mother, correct me if I'm wrong, brother, and the other one is of a different race. She doesn't have any child, and this and this. And I'm asking both Victoria and Aaliyah, which are you recommending that son go toward?
Okay, so I'm gonna jump in with my answer. Ladies, please do not throw tomatoes at me in the chat. Because I come from a family of predominantly men. So I've always had like a deeper connection and been able to get along with men. What does a single mother do for a man without children? What does it do to help him out? When your resources are coming and going back to the sellout definition, but how is he selling out? How is he selling out by not making that decision? Because this woman with the child is going to take away from his resources, his legacy, especially if he wants his own children. And then not only that, let's just keep it 1,000. There is a plethora of potential issues that come with dating women with children from other men. It's already something if it's just one. And there's like things that men have put me on game about, that if the child is under 5, very probable that she's still sleeping with baby daddy. So then let's take it and put it into multiple baby daddies.
One more time for brothers in the back.
Oh, if the child is
I've never heard it in my life. I've never heard that in my life.
If the child is under 5, forget it, because it's still too new. It's too fresh. The hormones, the emotions, the body, everything. It's still just too much, and she's probably still sleeping with him. So then let's not even take into consideration, what if there's multiple children and multiple baby daddies? So like at this point in the game, what can she offer you of value that she has not already given other men?
Miss Victoria, let me ask you a hard question.
Uh-oh.
This is a real hard question.
Oh, God.
Miss Elania, too. Do you think black women who have children out of wedlock are a sellout to the black community?
By definition.
Children out of wedlock. I could see yes, just because you're not staying with the father of that child, and in some instances you are selfishly taking on or it's like selfishly accepting all of the problems that child will have by not having a leader in the house, right? Now, I'm not talking about the more extreme situations of violence and drug abuse and gambling and all that kind of stuff. I'm not talking about that. But just like if he wasn't a bad guy, you're doing so much damage to the child,
Yeah, the reason why I said it's an ugly math problem is because 80% of black women have children out of wedlock, I won't say that, are single mothers. And 52 to 54% of black men do not have children. 51% of that 53 to 54%, those 51% have children, black children. There is a 3% to 2 to 3% of children being born biracially that are not by black men. That's what the new census data shows. So what we're saying, what young black men under 30 are saying is, if you guys want us to fix this, young black men can fix this problem, but they're going to fix this problem by assimilating. You can either assimilate in the culture or you can leave the culture. I'm not talking about leave the culture of the United States of America. I mean, you either must leave the United States of America or you will be assimilated. There is no black Dominicans and white Dominicans don't refer to themselves as white or black Dominicans. Same for Puerto Ricans, same for other groups around, same for Britons, right? The Britons and Europeans don't call themselves black Britons. They call themselves Britons. We're the only country who were refused integration into assimilation. Maybe it was an intended thing, but here's the problem: it became an issue. It's an issue now. You can see that in terms of now you see the majority of interracial dating on TV, on shows now, movies, all that kind of stuff, right? So you just see this swath of interracial dating across the board. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's a hard math problem because the young black men are going, cool, we'll fix it. We're not dating any single mothers, and we're meaning they're going to take the same standards as the rest of the men in the outside world, which is we're not going to date any single mothers. We're not going to date women that don't look attractive to us and are hit a certain weight requirements. If they're not submissive to us, we're not going to do it at all. I'm going to pick the best woman for me, go have my family, and go sit my butt down. This is what Dr. Claude Anderson was talking about. It's the assimilation of the process.
Go ahead, Brother Suggs. Speak on that.
Mm.
Brother Suggs want to add something to that.
I just want to agree with what he's saying. I just want to agree with what he's saying. I'm 32, never been married, no children. I don't deal with single mothers, and now I don't deal with women if they don't have relationships with their fathers. I mean, not saying that if they may be dead or not, but if they're alive, and I ask them, and they're like, "Yeah, he's around somewhere," because me personally, like I said, I have a relationship with my mom now because I knew work needed to be done. So if they don't have that relationship with their fathers, I just X them out. I don't even, reach back.
And which is really here's the hard part, Soul, is that if you look at majority of men who have children, so let's say 51% of black men don't have children, right? 31% of black men are married with a black wife, or a majority are married with a black wife and children. It's only like 15-18% of black men that don't that have multiple children. That's the issue. How can a man be in two places at one time?
True.
There are plenty of good men who do not have children. Who, guess what? A friend of mine, one of my neighbors, asked me. She goes, you're a good-looking guy. You like to work. You do your thing. Da da da. I've got a girlfriend, and my girlfriend is Hispanic, so I'm full disclosure. And so she asked me. She goes, hey, are there any more guys out there like you? And I said, yeah, there's plenty of guys out there like me. And she says, really? And I said, yeah, they're just not attractive though. They're just not. If God says beauty is vain, then suggest you pick a guy that's not as attractive. You be the pretty one. What's the problem?
Interesting, brother. Brother, more sense. I brought you in and haven't got
Hello.
you on things, man.
I didn't want to interrupt. Hi y'all. I chimed in about an hour and some change late. I'm 30. Well, no, I'm not 30 yet. I'm turning 30 this fall. Single black man, no children. I'm actually in Connecticut, not too far from Victoria. And yeah, it's funny. My girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend, is from Rhode Island. She's Dominican. And just to give you some perspective, because now I'm single right now. I broke up with her because I felt like off of just lifestyle and spiritual paths that we weren't aligning. So I thought it was interesting what Victoria said, because it was like I was trying to. My uncle, he's Rasta. I'm Jamaican and Trini. My uncle, he was looking at me when I introduced her to him, like, yeah, she's all right, but it'd be better if you had a black woman. Like, she has indigenous black roots, but she's not black. You know what I mean? And she was darker Dominican more than she didn't look like. You know what I mean? She had way less European Dominican features at all. You know what I mean? She had more the Haitian features. But in any case, like right now, to what Brother Suggs said, like, I'm not dating you if you got children. For what? Because you're looking at me. I'm looking at it like, if I can't lead you, I got no business being with you. But now if you got extra financial obligations and I can't even be prioritized for attention, not that I need it, but if you got your kid, I got to respect that's your kid. And I would understand it if it was my biological kid, because I'm going to put myself second for that kid. But when it's yours, I can't give myself that onus the same way, just on a biological level. So it's just like, it's a huge turnoff to even consider that. It's like, now I got to think about a whole situation I have to think about.
So let me ask y'all this. Mainly Ali and Victoria. Let's say a woman is a single mother. Let's say she's a single mother, and what you're saying is the way it is. Like she has no value in this. What should a single mother do to move forward? She just throw in the towel and say, you know what? For the next 18 years, my life is to be this, or should she just move different?
Move different?
How should she move?
Well, see, the thing about it is it just depends on the scenario of how she even became a single mother. It may not have been by choice. And the thing is like when we implement those types of scenarios, just because you're a single mother doesn't mean you don't deserve to date. You just have to choose what is more in alignment. Like, I wouldn't necessarily, if I was a single woman that had children, I don't have any children. If I was a single woman that had children, I would not want to even date a man that doesn't have children because he may not understand the plight of being a parent. So let's just put it out there like that. So even her wanting to be with a single man is a liability even to her because she can't, if he's a single man, he's going to move like a single man, like just keep it a bug. He doesn't know, to stay home on the weekends or do certain things during the week that a parent would do. He's going to live his best life being a single man unless he was raised in a certain way to where, he was raised within circumstances where his dad was a certain way and, he loved this girl, whatever the case may be, and decided he didn't want to have biological kids, whatever, there's different scenarios. But for the most part, if that person is a single parent, then they should akin to someone who has children.
I agree. But I agree 100%. But
I was going to second that. I feel that the proper answer is she needs to move differently. I definitely don't feel like, just because a woman has had a child, she is now unworthy of love and
absolutely
she's got to be banished to the shadow realm. I'm not saying that's, going to be her existence from now on. But something I'm noticing is that, and this is even through my personal life, because, so I teach yoga. And back in Houston, a lot of my first clients were former NFL players and things like that, still trying to just work on their flexibility after the sport and all that. And so I would talk to them about relationships, about women and things like that. And they would tell me, I would love to get back out there and meet more eligible Black women. But a lot of them have this entitlement through the roof, but the femininity has dropped down. There's multiple baby daddies. Many of them don't like to work out. It's kind of like this, take me as I am, no matter what. But yet, if he is a bit sloppy, then they don't like that, which is hilarious to me. So it's just like, again, going back to the whole, are they really betraying something? If anything, to accept these subpar conditions, they're betraying themselves.
I agree with that.
Let me say this though, because from a man's point of view, it really doesn't matter. Like when a man meets a woman and she has a child, it doesn't matter. I won't say it doesn't matter, but not as much as like a man doesn't say, okay, well, if she was married and had a child, she's in a certain bucket. If she was single and had a child because he's not really looking at that part as much. He's looking at the obligation that's coming his way as being a man. Yeah. How would unless that woman is widowed, he's gonna look at that situation pretty much the same. I would look at a widow different, maybe, but it's still the same thing. But the thing that alters, the thing that I think a lot of women don't understand when they're single mothers and they're saying, I still want to date. Even if they're dating a guy with kids, it can alter the dynamics of a relationship. And what I mean by that is if a woman is coming to a man, say if a woman is coming to a man's life and he wants her to go straight into that role like you're in, Vic, like you're straight housewife, like you holding the house down. If he wants to bring a woman in, he wants her to hold the house down, like take care of the meals and be full domestic. Don't work. Don't go get a job. If a woman is bringing a child or children, that can have a tendency to alter that position he has for that woman. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
you know,
for sure, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of him, and he may want that woman to come in and be full domestic, but if she's bringing a child or 2 children, it's like now you're bringing. It costs a lot of money to raise a kid.
Absolutely.
I mean, it costs about $250,000 to raise a child on the low end.
Yeah, per
so
child.
A lot of women don't understand that. Hey, if I'm bringing a child, if I'm bringing 2 children, I'm expecting you to come out an extra $500,000 on top of what it takes to put me in this domestic role. And I think a lot of women don't understand that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my 2 cents on that.
There's definitely a mental dissociation and a lot of delusion in modern day society. You know, these men are not seeing, in a lot of our women, they're not seeing something that on a primal level speaks to them. Like, so, you know, I love to cook. I can't tell you how many comments I get on my cooking, because I like to show my cooking on Instagram. But I can't tell you how many comments I get about cooking and how I forgot the guy, but he was like, yeah, you know, I asked my wife for a sandwich. Here you are making lamb chops and
every day.
he can't even make me a sandwich. And it's just like, and then the hair, you know, the hair and the crazy velociraptor nails, just all these things that on a primal level, they don't really relate to because they didn't see the older women growing up looking like that or behaving like that. And it's like, okay, so yeah, you can twerk and do the splits, but I can't take you nowhere. Like, you can't hold a conversation.
So
Where's the depth?
He didn't choose right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
For sure. It definitely goes both ways.
Yes,
there's both parties out here are not choosing. Many of us are not choosing correctly, which again leads back to the whole not basing it strictly off of color or the culture, picking based on your purpose, picking based on that deeper spiritual alignment.
Sure.
Picking, based on finding your soul's counterpart.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
that's how a man has to choose.
Yeah.
Like he has to look at his life and say, you know what, where am I going? Like, let me see my goal first. And then when I look at a woman, she has to be able to put me there, you know, and that's going to be different for every man. Like some, you know, it's going to be different for every man.
May I
opine
real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
And so I appreciate that sentiment in what y'all saying right now. So I'm gonna share my situation just to probably give some context, maybe add as a think piece. But that's literally, so like I had a woman who was cooking for me. She put in perspective. She seen me working at Amazon, bread messed up. I'm in like a semi-good situation because I got an education. I had a good job, but then she seen me fall a few steps back. She's helping out, knowing I'm trying to renovate my property. So she buys me a garden hose, like the little wrapper upper one, because she sees it takes me a lot of time to wrap it up. That's saving me time. That's giving me more energy in the evening. Then she's cooking meals after I finish the work on the yard. So when I come in, I just take a shower. There's food ready there. She's hitting all the points. We dating for about a year. And fast forward, after we started to realize spiritually our paths weren't aligning, things still didn't work. See what I'm saying? So it's like it got us to a certain point where it was like we came to realize, okay, we could get along with each other. We could build on certain levels with each other. But then the further the relationship progressed, we got to know each other more intimately. And it's like spiritually, we're not going to take each other to that place we hope. So what are we going to do? We either got to get on the same program, or if that's not what it is, we're going to have to go our ways. And that's what happened in our case. But I got love for her because she's honestly one of the best women that I dated. It just wasn't our paths.
This wasn't an energetic match. Yeah.
And so it's like that. So I think it's real important that y'all, like what y'all saying that, because it's like that makes the difference, and like whether it'll help take you to that level of fulfilling your vision. You know, if she's willing to play that partnership role.
Yeah,
absolutely. There's nothing to regret about that situation. Like, and I know that you're not saying that you did regret it, but it's just nothing about that chapter of your life with her was anything to regret. She taught you a lot about yourself, about interacting with her, and in a way helped elevate you for the next chapter of your life. And it sucks, you know, that y'all didn't work out, but I would always rather hear a man say something like that than you were just with trash person after trash person after trash person, and now your life is 10 steps back because the wrong woman can throw you down a rabbit hole that takes sometimes decades to come out of.
Yep, that's what KP just said. He said the wife you choose is the life you choose.
Absolutely.
That is even though a man is quarterbacking the relationship, even though he's the head, he's I'm telling you, the woman you bring in is going to have a huge amount of influence on the way your life goes, man.
Absolutely.
It's all energy.
Right.
It's all energy, man. Like, so that's dead on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what these other comments saying? I saw a couple of them I wanted to bring up. They didn't went too far. But yeah, I think you know, when it comes down to it, I think a man should just choose. I get it. I mean, when I think about building communities and building, you know, I can go to like I talked about in my last video. I can go down to Carrollton and go to the Asian community around the DMV, and the restaurant signs are in, I don't know if that's Chinese or Korean. It's in something I can't read, you know, and I see that as beautiful. I'm like, man, this is beautiful, and I love being over there as a Black man experiencing it. And I know when they come to our communities and they're going to our restaurants, they like it too. So I love the fact of building up. But yeah, when it comes to just like sharing that forever with a person, it's like, man, it has to be deeper than all that. I see my brother just chimed in. I see my brother Travis just chimed in. I gotta bring him on. This brother, let me get this comment off here real quick. Brother Travis.
Yo.
Hi, brother.
What's good?
What's going on, man?
Good to see you, man. I'm enjoying
everybody else. I gotta ask you the same question, brother. Yeah. When it comes to interracial relationships, right? Do you think? I think you got some background. Same question, brother.
Yeah, it's a little echoey, but go ahead.
Do you have another? Are you watching on the same thing you listening to?
This is it. Nah, this is it.
Do you think? Are you pro interracial relationships? Do you think people, whether they're white, Black, Asian, should stay with their own? What say you?
I mean, I find it funny, man, because I've only dated interracially. I've never dated any white women. So, I mean, even when I was younger, I was dating Latino women from when I was a teenager until I got married. Then when I got married, I married a Dominican woman when I was 26, and we were together until I was 42. So, almost.
Was that based on attraction, or was it based on the environment you grew up on? What do you think?
No, I mean, my background is pretty diverse. I was born in Germany. My family is Italian, German, Dutch, Polish, Sicilian. I'm European, essentially. But it was really just based on attraction. Like, that's just what I was attracted to. But I dated Latina women, I dated Black women, but I've never dated white women. I don't know if it's me. White women are not attracted to me.
Let me ask you this: Do you think you're doing your culture a disservice?
Am I doing my culture a disservice? No, I see. I mean, I find it funny that we're having this conversation in 2021. I even typed it in the chat earlier, because the fact that we're still talking about color in 2021, it seems like it just seems outdated that we're having this conversation. It doesn't seem like, it seems like we got past that. But evidently, it seems like it's a bigger issue now than it ever was. So I don't know how to handle it, but and my story right now. I'm a single dad. I raised my two sons by myself, but it's a crazy thing to talk about in 2021. I thought we were past all this.
It is, and I'm looking at the stats again from the poll. It's at 600 people now. 77% say they don't think interracial relationships are a violation of the culture. 23% say that it is. So I heard what you're saying. Like, in 2021, we're still having this conversation. Let me ask you this: if you were to ever, whether it's marry, whether it's to find your life partner going forward, and she comes into your life, do you think do you think a woman that because your children are mixed, because their mother is you said
Dominican,
Dominican?
yeah, I married a Dominican woman, yeah.
So
Yep.
do you think a Dominican woman would come in? Do you think she would be a better fit, or do you think maybe a black woman or a white woman could be just as vital in their
To
lives?
me, the color of the skin matters absolutely zero. That has, if vibrationally we're on the same level, what does it matter what we look like on the outside? Like this is what I'm trying. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around this entire conversation because that's the way I'm looking at it. And we've talked, like even Ms. Victoria touched on it. I mean, just being vibrationally, if you're at the same vibrational level as whatever their color is, it doesn't matter. Like you're on the same level, and I find it frustrating that we're having this conversation now. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, brother. More sense. More sense. Wanted to add to what you were saying, Trev.
So I read a little bit. Actually, I read a good bit, but I forgot it. So that's why I'm saying I read a little bit. I read a little bit of Claude Anderson's Powernomics. He pretty much, I forget which position he was in Miami's government for like their treasury or some kind of financial management position, but he had a firsthand experience looking at the economics of different demographics, and then he did this study with that book Powernomics, and so he talks about the different equity in the Black community relative to other communities. So I think one of the biggest things when you think about reproduction is like people are on a fundamental level, like even just the essence of the root for motive of racism is the essence of survival. It's like, I want my genetics to survive, so I got to preserve it. And then they perceive they can do it through hate versus through just loving themselves. But that's a individual thing. But like on the level of just reproduction, it's like, okay, it's survival genetically. Everyone's trying to reproduce, protect yourself. Two essence, primal survival skills. So like, I feel like you get Black people, we also want to survive and protect ourselves too, in terms of the essence of the genes. And then so you got, with us, we don't have as much equity. And so it's like, to be able to preserve the essence of being Black on our narrative is less in our control because we don't have the economic, political, social, even psychological advantages or strengths or whatever you want to call it, to just be able to position ourselves to, you know what I mean?
Even the mindset, because I get when people say, you know what, if we're gonna build Black people up, then we need to keep it Black. But think about this: if a Black man passes away and he has a Black family, how many people do you know? How many Black women do you know that will take a life insurance policy and build with it? Most of the ones I know are going to buy a new Benz, going to buy a new crib. They aren't finna build nothing. So we're really, I mean, the mindset of our people. I mean, we're doing crate challenges. That's where we're at right now. And so to talk about keeping the funds in a certain demographic of people, we're not even there. I don't know, but a small amount of women that have the mindset that if their husband passed away right now, they're not finna build with that. They finna floss with it. They finna Gucci bag.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I'm a bias because I guess I literally am that exception. So I get that. But I mean, like, just in like literally, because it's like I heard one of y'all say something like even widowed, and even that would be the situation. That would be the case in my situation. My mother was widowed. She did the right thing with the life insurance policy. I came out decent. I could have been better. But you know what I mean? But like, all in all, like, yes, that's not common for sure. And most women are gonna blow it, and or maybe just not know how to manage it. And I think even to some degree, my mom could have managed it better too. I mean, I think she did an amazing job, but yes, there's always some room for improvement. But at the end of the day, like,
Yeah.
she definitely is an anomaly. She did what 90% of women definitely would not do with that type of situation, and put me and my brother in position to have a way better future. So, I mean, and even then we still struggle. You see what I'm saying? Because it was like, it wasn't just about that, and we still lack money. We still did lack money. It wasn't that big of a bag. And then it's like, now we don't got a whole figure who is worth way more than that ever could be. So it's like we starting 10 steps back, regardless of how anybody look at it. So,
and we as men, us as men, we're the ones that have to take responsibility to that. Because one, we're choosing the wrong women, and two, once we get a woman in our lives, we're not showing them the way. We're not even saying, hey, you know what? In the event I'm gone, this is how you need to move.
Yeah,
this is how you need to move, man. Even when I was married several years ago, and even when I was in that long-term relationship afterwards, I treated that like a marriage. It was like, you know what? In the event that I die, this is what I want my funeral to look like. The money you get, this is what I want you to do with it. My son is getting this. You need to make sure things move a certain way. So we as men aren't moving like that. Women, a lot of women are looking to us for guidance, and if we aren't teaching them that, then when we die, they ain't gonna do nothing but stunt anyway. They don't know anything different. You know, if anything else, I'm going to be a guy that, I mean, when we look at the characteristics of our women today, good or bad, it all falls back to us. All falls back to what we as men accept. I'm a firm believer in that, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that y'all mentioned the point of teaching women how to move with the money. You know, there's a lot of people in our community that it's like they'll curse you out and everything for stepping outside the race and saying that you're taking resources and you're taking the genetics away from us and giving it to everyone else. But it's like, but what are you doing for the community while you're sitting here throwing stones at me? What are you doing with it?
True.
You know, it's like there's a lot of people that we know that Derek and I know that are not Black and have done a lot.
That's true.
For the Black community, but they don't need to floss it on Instagram, and they don't need to be on Facebook and doing all this fake shit like Snapchatting, giving a homeless man a pizza, all that fake stuff just for, you know, applause. And because we're big on that in the Black community, we always need the public pat, you know, the public pat on the back, and it's just very disingenuous. But like the gentleman Trav was saying, you know, just there's a lot of people that do love us, do care about us, that will do things for us. And we just need to acknowledge it as well. Because there's a lot of us in the Black community that are not doing anything to make any of our lives better, not even their own.
I'm going to tell you this. I can easily say that. I'm going to give a shout out to a sister, and I wouldn't dare say her name. We met online. I've never met her. A white woman. And I'm telling you, she's given me so much game in life on how to move and learn certain laws and this.
Yeah.
She's added so much value to my life. So I get what you're saying. There are people that are non-Black that are, you know, out to help. I can remember, you know, I always talk about back in 2009 when I was down and out, homeless almost, lost, you know, cars, homes, all that stuff. When I was down, and this is how I look at it. When I was down and out, I was looking to the culture. I'm like all the people I've been there helping, the culture, my people, where y'all at? You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm loyal to my people forever, but there's only so much loyalty. I'm not gonna lose myself to the culture because when I lost myself, the culture wasn't there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when I mean that, I mean the people I was popping bottles with, the people I was taking to lunch when they didn't have nothing, when I didn't have nothing, and they had a little bit, it was just sold by itself. So I'm loyal to the culture, but I'm not going to sacrifice my happiness to, you know. I see it. I see it different. I see it a little different.
And I also feel like we're not obligated as Black people to be the ones who sacrifice, who work hard, who get it out the mud, and then just freely give it to those who don't want to help themselves. I don't think we owe that to our culture.
Absolutely.
But there tends to be like some shame that goes into when you start making something of yourself or trying to do something or be better. It's like the only way you can help to some of us in the community is just give without question. And it's like that's not the answer.
No.
So I just wanted to add that.
Not at all. Yeah. I don't know. It's you know, I think at least for me, I'm getting a better understanding. Kind of like when we came down to the whole monogamy, polygamy. I was hard one way, but it opened me. I still have my own, but it opened up. And having this conversation has opened up my mind to at least how people view it or where their thoughts come from. Like now, I can easily see how maybe the majority of women see this topic different from men. Because if I was, as a man, if I saw the whole time growing up, if I saw society trying to put down my image to raise the image of white men or Italian men or Hispanic men, I would feel indifferent about it. I would feel more like I need to lean more toward powering my own. I would feel different. So I get that, and I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I really don't. If a person says, I'm pro this, I don't think we should step outside. I think we should build this and do. I don't think that person is wrong. I think they're coming from a place of I say love, but at the same time, for myself, I think there are higher levels of it. I think there are higher levels of it, and once I got to the point where I no longer saw when I got to the point where I no longer saw race in general, but individual, it changed everything, and it ain't gonna lie, it put some very beautiful people in my life that I probably wouldn't have met,
Right.
I don't know.
I like that.
Comments real quick. What were you saying, sis?
No, I said I like that.
Yeah. But I don't think there's a wrong answer. And I was hoping Abdul chimed in.
I hit him up. He was driving. I think he was like maybe dropping off.
I sent him a message.
I'm not sure.
I didn't want to quote him without him being here.
I know.
When I was on y'all's show a couple of weeks ago, this came up briefly, and Abdul said, and if you chiming in, brother Abdul, put in the comments if I'm wrong. But Abdul said, we were talking about this, and I said, I gave him a scenario where I said, well, if I have 2 or 3 women I'm entertaining, and all of them are pretty much giving me the Heisman, kicking me back, or giving me some sauce, and a sister of a different race is showing me love, are you saying I should choose the women that are treating me salty over the one that's showing me love, even though she's not black? And brother Abdul said, like you're supposed to take one for the team. And I was like, he's like, power to the people. This was on the spectrum.
He said you should take one for the team. I didn't remember that part.
Abdul said you should stay black regardless. He said he'd rather be miserable and with a black woman than happy with a non-black woman.
See, now he's starting to sound like O'Shea Do Jackson.
And I don't want to say that. I was hoping Abdul chimed in to correct me if I'm wrong.
What? I'm gonna have to ask him about that.
It was on y'all's show.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna verify that.
Yeah. If I'm misquoting that wrong, I'm gonna come back online and say I said it wrong because I don't want to do the Brother Ray, when it comes to interracial relationships, what say you, brother?
Oh, interracial relationships. It's I'd say right now in this day and age, it's definitely a conflict. There can be some bonuses, but then there can definitely be some minuses. It depends on the situation.
Okay.
I think at this point, like given the times that we live in, we're just seeing kind of a shift, and where I think it's really more or less eradicating the cores of the fabric that we've known of throughout our lifetime. So I kind of see that because I used to always say that interracial is not the same as swirling or divesting. Some people have brought those terms to light, if you will. So at one point I didn't see it as a bad thing, and overall I still don't see it as a bad thing, depending on, like I said, depending on the mindset, depending on the people that are together. So
okay, when you say bad things, what are some of those bad things?
Just a lot of division. You'll have people that'll be racist towards the people they came from when they get around another type of people. You'll have that. Or you'll also have, when you're around that other person or those other people, you are not at liberty to really say or express yourself a certain way because you're around them, you're around that other culture.
I think it comes down to a personal I think it comes down to the person, him or herself, because I can't see myself being anything outside of what I am now. I know there was a point in time where that was true, But I can't see it. I can't see if I was with a woman that was white right now and she was a straight Becky, type, and I was in her, with her family, I couldn't be anything different than what I am now. I couldn't speak different. I couldn't talk different. I may talk about different things because they couldn't sit there and relate to what we talk. But man, so I get what you're saying, but I think it comes down to the person. What do you think the pros of it are?
I think the pros is you pretty much debunk stereotypes because you got to think that family may, especially for a melanated individual like myself and yourself. So you pretty much debunk certain stereotypes when you get around that family because they may see you one way, but then they see how you are personally and they're like, oh wow, okay, now I see, like, yeah, there's a lot of truth to like why my daughter would like this kind of guy. Like, so you kind of shut a lot of the critics down, if you will. So I think another pro is also just you get more backing, I guess, from other cultures, meaning like they can't even have other people amongst them try to shun you because they'll defend you. They'll say, hey, that's my family, don't talk about them. So it actually does unify some people. But I think another pro is, and this is not talked about that much, but it prevents certain inbreeding from taking place. You need sometimes a little splash of another color to come within your culture to help kind of even kill some things.
I don't think Aaliyah likes that comment, bro.
I didn't say nothing. I'm listening. I'm taking it in.
So you being messy.
Yeah,
trying to start a pot.
You can throw a splash in there. I was like, she was like, splash. Yeah, I feel you, bro. I feel you. So would you say because you have pros and cons? Would you say you're more pro?
Good question. I'd say under certain circumstances, I would be more pro as long as both parties are understanding of the situation. But given the times we live in right now, I see a lot of cons because of just, it goes down to one statement, and it's just it's all by design. A lot of this is all by design. And
so this is my question. I'm really asking you, and we finna get ready to wrap this thing up. So what I'm really asking you is, if you have two women shooting their shot at you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both of them are showing, both of them are into you. The sister kind of has some flaws. I don't know, but the non-sister, the non-black woman is showing you more love. She's more aggressive coming towards you. She's, are you gonna select the black woman just because she's black and you rather patch that up and make that work out of love for the culture, or would you say, you know what, the other woman just loves me a little bit harder, a little bit better?
Yeah, the other woman just loves me a little harder.
And you would go with her, or?
Yeah, I would go with her because just off the simple strength that she does love me a little harder. I mean, it has nothing to do with the color at that point. It's just the love that I'm receiving at that time, reciprocating at that time.
Okay, appreciate that, brother.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you chiming in, Sister Victoria. I appreciate you chiming in. Always much love. We'll go ahead and close y'all out. We're gonna get here and wrap this thing up. I appreciate the nuggets. Y'all dropped some nuggets tonight, man.
All right, thank you so much.
And
thank you for having me. Good night.
All right, take care. Appreciate it, brother.
All right, thanks for having me on. So,
Sister Aaliyah,
yes,
I want to get your closing thoughts.
I ain't got nothing. No, I'm just playing.
so
I'm just kidding. No.
Do you still feel the exact same?
I'm pro. I didn't say everybody. I am. Mm-hmm. See, that's the difference. I never said what everybody else should do. Mm-hmm. I'm going.
No. I'm taking it as that. But I'm gonna ask you the question again.
That's why I keep saying, going back to what I said I would do, because I know what I like. I'm not going to ever subject myself to negative energy just because a person is my culture. I also, that's why I likened it to a family member that's a toxic family member, and just because that's my mama, my daddy, my cousin, my sister, or whoever, that's still, just because they're blood, I'm supposed to be cool with it. No, that's not the way that should go. So I think that, you know, for me, I'm innately, again, attracted to Black men. There's a certain strength, there is a certain mental fortitude, resilience that Black men have that I am attracted to. I was raised by a Black man. You know what I mean? My grandfathers were Black men.
And you always talk about how strong
It's
they were.
no knock on no other race. I don't knock other people's. If you, hey, I can coexist, but I know what I'm attracted to. And that's why I'm pro. Now, people have to do what's best for them, what's best for their ascension, what's best for whatever they value the most. Me personally, I would love to have I don't think that I'm gonna have children. So I'm cool with being a bonus mom or whatever the case may be. But I would love to have that and will have that with the Black man because I co-create my existence. So, and can't nobody tell me what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do when I'm co-creating it. That's why I'm standing firm and you know what I mean?
I feel you. I do feel you.
So, you know, it's not to say that a man should, again, if you decide to step outside of your race or whatever the case may be, or be with somebody else, don't tear down your people. Build your people up. That is your responsibility. You have a social responsibility. If you get with somebody of another race, don't allow them to tear them down.
Oh yeah.
Don't get with people just because you are not willing to face certain things that's going on in our community. We all got to heal. It's some capacity. That's everybody, not just Black people, not just white people, not just, you know, any other race or nationality or ethnicity of people. So it comes down to what works best for your life.
I feel you. I feel you. I love that. I love that. Tell everybody one more time where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram. I do have a Twitter, but I'm not as active. That's more for my manifestation stuff. But I'm not as active on Twitter. I'm more active on Instagram. And then all my links are on my Instagram. It's at Ilea Nico, just like how it's spelled right there.
Make sure y'all sub to her. Her page is lit. She's always going live, either tripping you out or giving you some good info all the time. So definitely subscribe to her Instagram. I appreciate you joining, sister.
Absolutely.
And we got to do it again. You know that.
Oh, absolutely. For sure.
All right. All right.
Okay,
Take care.
have a good evening.
All right. I got just to wrap this thing up. I think that if nothing else, we could all, you know, regardless of what side of the fence we're on, I think it's good to hear how people think on the other side. It kind of brings us closer together. Hey, rediscover your source. I saw you said you put a question on that super chat. What was that question? I couldn't find it. It rolled up, brother. I want to answer that real quick before we go. Type that question in again one more time. But my view on it is still the same. Of course, I'm all about me as a Black man. I want to see my people thrive. I think it's natural in me. I would expect for a white man, a green man, a blue man, and a pink man to feel the exact same way. They want to build their community up, you know. But when it comes to me loving a woman, things that just happened to me over time where I tend to be able to see past that now. I can look at Indian woman, Asian woman, white, you know, whatever race, and just see her for her character, see her for her morals, and see if she sees the world like I sees it. That's like the deciding factor for me. But again, I don't think there's a wrong answer. I think that at the end of the day, we just have to really understand and respect everybody else for thinking the way they think, and it's going to just bring us closer. I don't see that. Type that question in real quick, brother, because I didn't see the question on the super chat. I want to answer that before I close out, man. He said, based on the sellout question, Black people owe allegiance to other. Based on the sellout question, do Black people owe allegiance to other Black people inherently? Let me see if I can find Ali and see if she's still there. See if I can bring her in and see if she can answer that. Oh, you still there, girl? Good.
I am. I ain't
Perfect.
going nowhere.
Hey,
Somebody said I was ghetto. I'm not ghetto.
No.
At all.
I didn't see that comment.
At all. But thank
What
you.
do you think about rediscover your sources question? He says, based on the sellout question, do Black people owe allegiance to other Black people inherently? That's a heavy question.
It's a heavy.
That's real heavy.
I think that we owe each other to want to build up one another. Okay. If that makes sense. Reach one, teach one, but you can't force anybody. It's all about what you're willing to take in and what you're willing to continuously teach. If you would, I think that like if we like, for instance, if we have resources, if I have resources, then I'm going to share the resources because that's my heart. I care for my people. I'm not going to, like we were talking about on the last live that we did, you know, it's more so about a person who sees value in people and wants to share certain things to make people better. It's about making people better without expectation. Of course, I don't think that anybody should put up with any traumas, but you have to also be willing to want to do better for yourself and for your people. And like, we got to individually heal. I'm a proponent of individually healing. Like, it can't be just this pointing the finger. What are we? We're all dealing with something, some type of way for our reality to even be what it is.
My answer would be no. After soaking on it for about 30 seconds, I would say, of course, you want to be, you know, you want to build your people, and all, but first you have to. It has to be about you first.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it took me a while to understand that a person should be selfish in life a little bit. Like I just learned this like the last 3, maybe 4 years of my life that I wasn't selfish enough, and that was holding me back.
Absolutely.
So there was a lot of times where I was helping people before I helped myself. I was helping the people that wouldn't help me when they had the chance.
Sure.
So to answer your question, my answer would be no. I think I'm responsible for self first.
Yes.
I'm responsible for black people, white people, any people. I think it's self first.
Yeah. Because I mean, that's where all the change begins.
Yeah.
Is with yourself. And you know, I think
the best way to help my community is to help myself first.
Exactly.
So I can be an example, and I'm in a better position to help y'all now.
Absolutely.
But if I'm helping y'all before I help myself, then we're gonna all stay at the bottom. Just
exactly. Exactly. For sure.
Yeah. I hope I answered that question, brother. And my apologies for missing it earlier. Let me give you another at ease for that super chat, bro. Appreciate all the love, man. Having said that, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. I thank y'all for showing up. I thank y'all for showing out. I hope we can all learn something from this. And if nothing else, we'll do it again another time. Much love. It's your boy Soul, and we out.